Welcome, foolish mortals, to Better Than Mario Brothers. I am your host, your ghost host, Chris Bolton. With me, as always, my cadaverous compadre, Mr. Mark Williams.
Hello.
We can't keep this shit up all episode. Look, it's Halloween, guys. What do you want? I've always wanted to do that. I think I'm happy.
I think you got more out of that than I was expecting. I thought you were going to get as far as Welcome, Foolish Mortals and then drop it.
That was my plan. And then, I don't know, I just ran with the spiel. You're lucky I didn't go into the whole mansion spiel. I managed to catch myself and cut it short. Although I did fuck up the use of the word cadaver, which I noticed. But anyway, whatevers. If you haven't noticed already, you've probably guessed by that intro, we are looking at the Haunted Mansion this week. It's Halloween, guys, and we're carrying on our ghostly celebrations with a look back at the 2003 Disney, I'm not using the word classic, just absolute pile of steaming shit is probably the best way to describe this film. I'm not going to bury the lead here. Let's look back at the 2003 Eddie Murphy vehicle, The Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, now I remember this coming out, and I can't remember why I didn't see it. It's the sort of thing that, being a Disney film, and being what you'd expect to be a reasonable comedy, I thought it would have been right up my street. But for whatever reason, I didn't see it. So I actually saw it for the first time today, and fuck.
Yeah, so I watched it for the second time in my life this weekend. I was reasonably looking forward to it. Now, you got to bear in mind, it's been some 17 years since this came out. I watched it on release, and surprisingly, as we've covered quite well on this show, I'm a huge Disney fan. Specifically, I'm a huge Parks fan. And Haunted Mansion is, without any shadow of doubt, my favorite ride of all time. I have loads of Haunted Mansion merch. I'm a mark for this stuff. I'm a huge fan of the Haunted Mansion and all the lore that goes with it. So you'd think I'd remember why it's taken me 17 years to watch this film for the second time. I know it was bad. I remember it being bad. I remember being really fucking disappointed. But I just couldn't remember why. So I thought, it can't be that bad, can it? It can't be that bad. So I thought we'd give it a whirl. It's Halloween. It's the perfect time to do it. Jesus fucking Christ. How wrong was I? What's really annoying about this film, and we'll get into it as we go through the episode, I know. But what's really annoying about this film to me is that it's kind of almost there.
Yeah.
I feel like the ingredients are there. They just haven't been blended correctly. But anyway, we'll get into it and go through it as we do. I mean, it starts really well. We get Welcome, Foolish Mortals, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be all right. Like, yeah, and it's going to be fine.
The way they set up the beginning, that you have the whole sequence, which is set historically, and all the stuff with the ball and things like that.
Yeah, that did ring some alarm bells for me. I thought it all looked lush.
Yeah.
And you get Master Gracie hanging from the rafters and stuff. Throwback to the ride, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously you get the ball scene as well. I wish we had a ghostly ball, which it was a gimme, but it didn't happen. So okay, but it did start to ring alarm bells for me because. Right, for one, the CG, I don't know, I can't remember, was this like an early 3D film or not, but it feels like the way the CG is coming out of the screen, I don't think it was either, but the way those really badly rendered, like candelabras and things are sort of swirling around the screen, they're meant to be kind of in Lyota's room, so I guess the insinuation anyway, this is what I took from it, and this is before we'd even met Lyota later in the film, I kind of guessed that this was kind of Lyota showing us as the viewer what had happened in the past. It felt to me like we were sort of looking through Lyota's crystal ball, and the room was swirling around us. We have the candelabras and the
and you get like the tarot cards and shit like that. Which again, there's thought gone into it. Whether it's the right decision or not, I don't know, but thought has gone into it.
Yeah. Now the CG looked terrible, but I was behind the idea. What started ringing alarm bells for me, even though it kind of worked, but what rang alarm bells for me was the front loading of all of that flashback stuff.
Yeah.
And it being chopped up into these silent sort of montage pieces, which yes, you can follow it, like you get the insinuation, but and I'm normally a big fan of front loading exposition. I've said it, I don't know how many times on this show. Like it's a lot of times it's vital to get you to connect with characters. But the problem is this is front loading the main exposition of the film. Like this is laying basically the story out for us. This isn't like baggage that we need to understand for Eddie Murphy's character or baggage that we need to understand for anybody really. This is the mystery of the mansion.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Now, what they'd have been better off doing. I mean, you can if you'd skipped all of this stuff, have your opening credits, and whatever you want to do on those, however you want to animate them, whatever style you want, fine, go for it. But then don't introduce the house stuff. Introduce that when they get to the mansion. If you want to have silent montage, do it behind the fuckers.
Yep,
have the ball going on behind them when they can't see it.
You are dead right. You are dead right, and I've written that later on. This is one of the biggest problems: is we don't discover the mansion through the cipher of Eddie Murphy and the kids.
Yeah.
So we have no connection with them, which is a shame, because actually the way it starts, the first sort of 15-20 minutes that we then spend with Eddie Murphy, I mean, look, Eddie Murphy is always watchable. Okay, even in shit, Eddie Murphy is always watchable. Maybe Clumps aside. Okay, Clumps is fucking dreadful, but that is the one and only misfire I can think of. Even at his absolute worst, you know, I'm talking fucking Vampire in Brooklyn. Like Eddie Murphy is watchable. He's just a movie star. He's magnetic. He's charismatic. He's always watchable. And I'm quite happy spending the first 15-20 minutes of this film just chilling out with Eddie Murphy, doing his thing, doing his slick salesman thing. Like he's endearing, even though he's supposed to be a sleazebag and a realtor. Like he's Eddie Murphy, so he's slick and he's charming, and it's fine. That's all good. We get to know the character. We get to know the family a little bit. We get the nice bit with where he's setting up with the son about the kind of spider and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's all good stuff.
Yeah,
but then it all gets thrown away because this call just comes out of the blue to go to the mansion, and I don't know, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And also, so I don't have too much about this first sort of 15-20 minutes, because actually I was just watching it. I was starting to think, like, where the fuck is the mansion? Because we see it straight out of the credits where that really bad fucking CG ghost flies towards, like, the fucking kid.
Yeah.
And then we don't see it for ages. We just, you know, but we understand, obviously, he's a realtor, so he's going to get the call to go and sell the mansion and stuff like that. So we get all of that. But then I feel like they spend a lot of time introducing him as a character, but there's not much character to introduce, if that makes it. Like we get that he's a workaholic, but we could have got that in like 2 scenes. We don't need the bit at the tiki bar, which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the Trader Sam's reference. They're at Trader Sam's tiki bar, clearly, even though it's not actual Trader Sam's, but that's the intent. So that's all good. And there are a lot of little tongue-in-cheek moments like that in here, which pretty much got me through the film, to be honest, because it's got going for it for me. But I feel like a lot of the problems that come later on are seeded here. I feel like Eddie Murphy, this is going to sound horrible, Eddie Murphy's character already has a very solid relationship with his family. Albeit that, you know, the wife's a bit pissed off with him because he's been at work again, but they're in a business together. Yeah. So they have to share that weight together.
Yeah, and if she's at home with the kids, he has to be doing the work.
Yes. And it's not a thing of like, oh, you're always at work at your job for some boss that, you know, and I never see you. It's like they work together. So they live together, they work together. They're going to see each other a lot. So their relationship's actually pretty strong. Even when she's cheesed off with him, like they're not having blazing rows and stuff. Their relationship's pretty strong. They work through it.
Yeah.
His relationship with the kids is pretty strong. Like the daughter's a bit stroppy because she's a teenager, but he goes in and does some fucking grade A parenting with the kid with the spider, you know? It's questionable telling a kid he needs to kill the spider. Maybe he could teach him to put the spider outside.
Release it and
Yeah, but anyway, that's your morals, whatever. And I feel like then what that does is rob us of an emotional core later on. And there are other reasons that it doesn't work later on as well. But I always sort of feel like there's nothing for Eddie Murphy to learn in this film.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a bit later on whereby the kids are in a box and he gets them out, and there's this big hug. And that hasn't been earned because they haven't started at a negative place.
No, and nor do they get to a negative place.
I mean, his kids already fucking idolize him.
Yes, that's it. And that is, again, all the ingredients here, all the scenes are here where he has to drag him to work and he has to be the smarmy salesman at work, and all it takes is for the kids to be unimpressed with that, you know.
Yeah.
But it just never happens. I really feel, and there's pedigree behind this film, mind you. This is the director of the fucking Lion King. All right, this isn't some two. I mean, okay, that's animation. This is live action, but this isn't some fucking 2-bit gun for hire. Okay. Even, you know, director, writer, cast, crew across the board, like this thing's got grade A talent involved.
Yeah.
It just feels to me like somewhere along the line somebody came along and went, no, this has to be a family film, and everything just got dialed all the way down. It feels like there is serious studio interference, which is weird because it's a fucking Disney product to begin with.
I mean, even then though, I mean, it's you say that, but I mean, even dialing it back to being a family, no, saying, oh, it's got to be a family film. It has all those qualities in it. As you say, it starts with the character in the wrong place. But more than that, I mean, Eddie Murphy has a fairly solid backstory, a fairly solid character, and they've given him his job. They've given him this thing where he works too much and all the rest of it. And they allude to that quite a few times in the first act. But apart from the kid being afraid of spiders, they don't really do any other work with the rest of the family. So it's very difficult to give a fuck.
What this feels like, because this is 2003, I said, wasn't it? Yes, 2003. Okay, so this is the dying days of Michael Eisner. Okay, Eisner left the company 2005, 2006. I want to say 2005. I'm pretty sure it's 2005. Okay, and this is in the worst possible way, and look, we've sung his praises a lot on our various podcasts, and I will defend him for a lot of things. But in the worst possible way, this is everything wrong with Eisner. This is high concept, low quality to its absolute core. This is Eisner going, hey, you know what's popular? Ghosts. You know what else is popular? Pirates of the Caribbean. Why don't we make a fucking film about the Haunted Mansion? And then somebody's gone along and went, okay, Mr. Eisner, what's it about? I don't fucking care. It's about the Haunted Mansion. Here's Eddie Murphy. Off you go.
Go for it. But in that vein, be grateful it wasn't It's a Small World.
I mean, yeah. Well, actually, though, see, part of the thing with this, and we'll see how Jungle Cruise turns out now as well.
Yeah.
I'm quietly confident about that.
Yeah, I'm quite optimistic about that.
I'm always up for a good adventure film, but I'm not. I mean, I love The Rock as well, but I'm not sure. I don't know. The trailer, he just seems like he's kind of on autopilot, which is weird. Anyway, there's something off about it. But anyway, we'll see how it turns out. You get a product like Pirates of the Caribbean, for instance, and there's very little, like, it's a beloved ride.
Yeah.
But there's, aside from some popular characters, of which at the time Jack Sparrow wasn't one. Jack Sparrow was created for the movie. Okay. There is nothing. There's no lore there. There's no pre-existing story that you need to tie in. Okay, so you've got a blank slate, and it feels like that one just flew under the radar, and they just went to town with it. And that first Pirates movie is fucking phenomenal. The rest of them are garbage, but that first one is absolutely phenomenal. And I'll hold it up as one of my favorite films of all time in any list that goes past 10. I would say it can make it into the top 20 on the right day. More often than not, it's going 20 to 30, but on the right day.
Yeah,
I can argue for Pirates of the Caribbean. It's very entertaining. Problem with Haunted Mansion is, I mean, a lot of the story has been created by fans. Okay, it wasn't there in the ride, because the ride itself had a turbulent kind of beginning and the story was all over the shop. But there is masses and masses and masses of lore behind this franchise, and you could pick any one strand of it. We could do the Sea Captain, we could do Constance the Bride, we could do Master Gracie, we could even go over to look at some of the other iterations of the Haunted Mansion, and this one feels sort of closer to Phantom Manor in a sort of way, but you've got the Phantom there. So there's all these that are built in, and you could take any one of those, hang Eddie Murphy's family on it, make him a sort of this father figure that isn't spending time with his kids, throw him in the center of the story, and you'd have something that would hang together. They haven't done that at all. They've just gone, okay, so it's an Eddie Murphy film, and it's going to be a fucking murder mystery, and we're going to set it in a fucking haunted mansion. So let's call it the Haunted Mansion. And it does just feel like it's been pieced together by numbers.
Yeah, it almost feels, and we talked about this before on the show, that it almost feels like it was another movie, and they've kind of tried to attach the property to it.
Yes, it really fucking does, which, as I say, is bizarre. because it's a Disney-owned product through and through. And I find it really strange that particularly under Eisner's lead as well at the time. I mean, he would have been transitioning, I guess, here, but under Eisner's lead as well, he was a big theme park guy. I find it odd that they didn't try harder to get kind of the soul of the mansion into this.
Yeah. The house itself was kind of incidental.
Yeah, very much so. It's problem is it's not about anything. Like the house is incidental, the characters are incidental. About the only thing it's about is the murder mystery of I keep wanting to call her Constance, but they didn't call her Constance, which in itself is fucking mad.
Yeah, they called her Elizabeth.
It's mad. There is a fucking bride in the mansion called Constance.
Yeah.
Like, okay, she is an evil, in inverted commas, character, but for fuck's sake.
Well, like, that's it. I mean, there's so much with this. I mean, we'll get to it at the end as well, but no, so spoilers. But the fact that it's a murder mystery, but nobody even knows it's a murder mystery. They all think she topped herself.
No, nobody fucking knows what they're doing there.
So, I mean, you have this. You can have this thing. So, right, okay, well, we've got this ghost bride. Okay, fine. Have that haunt in the house. That some fucking unrequited love thing involving Gracie. Have something. Build some fucking story around it. But I mean, it just feels like they've kind of got this what would be a very traditional, very easy horror adventure. And involves a painting in an attic and a ghost and unfulfilled love and all that bollocks. Been done a million times, and you just you use Eddie Murphy and his family as a cipher for it, and hijinks ensue because it's a Disney family comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they haven't even gone to town on that. They've gone, right, okay, well, this is a really fucking weak story. We're going to hang on Eddie Murphy, but we're not going to make Eddie Murphy the main focus because actually, once they get to the mansion, a lot of the focus goes on to Terence Stamp.
Well, this is the thing. 90% of the film, I think, once they're at the mansion, is spent with Terence Stamp doing weird Terence Stamp things where for the first... Because, I mean, this is only 90 minutes as well. And that's fine. You can tell this story in 90 minutes if you don't waste...
story in 9 fucking minutes.
Yeah, well, because there's nothing there. But once we get to the mansion, it's about the 25, 30-minute mark. Then we spend a good 20-odd minutes with Terence Stamp just being the butler and just jollying around.
Being really creepy and just popping up here and there and unexpected. And it's just, they're cheap jumps.
Yeah, but just generally being this butler character.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he flips it on his head and reveals himself entirely before the threat is even built.
Yeah.
So we know he's the fucking bad guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get into this as we go through the story. But yeah, it's just all out of order. And even the story that is here, whilst it's not great, I think there's enough pedigree in every aspect of this production that it could have worked and it could have been all right. Yeah. There are scenes that are really fucking good.
And there are some really nice touches. I mean, I texted you when we were at the 34-minute mark, and I was bored to tears. I was falling asleep on the sofa. Long day in work. Well, I say in work, sat where I'm sat now. But long day at work. Kids are coming from school. They were driving me up the fucking wall. So look, I've got to watch this film. So let's all just sit down and watch it together. And I was dozing off on the sofa. It was that fucking bad. I had to get up and make another coffee. So I texted you saying this film is fucking dull. And you quite rightly, you said, yeah, it's really boring, but it picks up.
Yeah,
and I thought, right, okay, I can see it needs to pick up because some fucking thing has got to happen at some point. And lo and behold, within about 5 minutes of that, it did. It started moving through. But yeah, the whole bit right up until probably the midpoint of the film, you're probably talking 45, 50 minutes before anything really happens.
Yeah, definitely. And it's such a shame. It's like they don't even get. I think I could even cope with not much happening if they'd have just got the feel right. Yeah. And they don't nail the feel. And we've talked about this. We talked about it this time last year, in fact, when we did Ernest Scared Stupid. And the one thing that film absolutely nails is the comedy horror aspect of things. It's almost scary and it pushes the boundaries of what a family can watch, but then they pull it back with like a dick and a fart joke.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do that because it's Disney, I know, but still, you just push the boundary all the fucking way and then you pull it back. And that is at the very fucking core of the Haunted Mansion as a franchise. That's the thing. It's spooky, scary. It's not terrifying. I mean, fuck, it scared me as a kid. I had nightmares about Little Leota as a kid. But it's not terrifying. It's just creepy and spooky. But it's also funny because you have the hitchhiking ghosts in there and things as well, who also totally wasted. And we'll get onto that when we get to them as well.
Yeah.
How the fuck you make a Haunted Mansion movie and have them in it for like 10 seconds?
Well, yeah, that's it. And there's loads of touches like that. And there's some really nice touches, like the skeleton horse and stuff like that. They're all in there, but you barely see it.
Don't get me started on the skeleton horse. We'll talk about that when we get there. But I mean, we're a good 20 odd minutes into this, and we've barely even started going through the film. We're starting. I'm just so. As you can probably tell, this is a franchise that I say franchise. This is the first film in it, but the Haunted Mansion in general is something I am very passionate about, and I feel like this could be so much better. Incidentally, there is another film in the works, not a sequel or anything like that, completely unconnected. Somewhere in the dark reaches of my mind, I have a feeling, I'm sure someone told me Diablo Cody was involved, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
That's ringing a bell, actually. I don't know why.
There's definitely, I could be wrong about that, but there's definitely another film in production anyway.
So it was announced in 2010 at Comic-Con that a new film based on it was in development with Guillermo del Toro.
I mean, there's your guy, right?
Yeah.
You want to do this, there's your guy, but obviously that's fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, well, so that's fallen by the wayside. In 2014, he's announced a separate film project, a cartoon special based on it, was being animated by Grizz Grimley. It was to be aired on the Disney Channel and Disney XD, but was cancelled. And then on the 28th of August this year, so what, like 7 weeks ago, it was announced a new live-action adaptation was in the works with Katie Dippold and Dan Lin involved writing and producing.
Where did I get Diablo Cody from then?
I don't know.
So I'm thinking of something else.
I don't know. Katie Dippold was a writer on Parks and Rec. She wrote The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy, and she was involved in the Ghostbusters reboot in 2016. So I'm not holding out a great amount of hope, to be honest.
I've not seen either of those, but I don't know. Some people really like that Ghostbusters reboot. I've still not seen it. So
if you take it as being entirely separate, then it's passable.
That's the rule of all reboots for me. You know that any reboot or sequel, I approach it on its own terms. So
yeah, I mean, it's the story's all right. The characters are a bit lacking, but this isn't a Ghostbusters podcast. Maybe we'll get to that another day.
No, it's not. But it's interesting. That's an interesting choice for a Haunted Mansion movie because Ghostbusters, again, as a film, gets that balance. That's what you need for the Haunted Mansion. That's the level of kind of spooky silliness that you need. Yeah. And that's what's missing here. And Ghostbusters also I would consider a family film, just like pushing the edge of scary. Like you probably couldn't have watched that with your kids at the moment. Saying that, I was probably watching Ghostbusters when I was Jess's age.
I'd have been watching it by now.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Anyway, let's move.
She lasted about 12 minutes and then fucked off to do something else.
I was just about to say, what did the kids think of it? So it even bored the kids.
Well, so number one, watched it. She's not massively into films anyway. She doesn't really have the attention span for it. She'd rather be doing gymnastics and twirling around the living room and shit like that because she's a very active, energetic child. Number two is fucking manic, but if you put the TV on, he will stare at it. He will literally just, whatever it is. I mean, you can put the news on in the morning. He's
okay.
So a screen is moving. He's watching it. And he got to about the hour mark before he got a bit scared when when they were in the crypt.
Which is where it gets really fucking good.
Well, yeah, but he's 6.
Yeah.
So you got a bit scared there, and then he realised that the other one was off doing something else and having fun, so he fucked off as well. So I ended up watching the end of it on my own, which was great.
Yeah. I mean, if he got scared of the crypt, he probably would have got really scared at the end. So that was probably a good thing. But anyway, to move through it. So we have this stuff with Eddie Murphy at the start. I've not got too many notes about that because actually, as I said, I was actually really enjoying that. It didn't feel like a Haunted Mansion film, but I was like, do you know what? We need to get to know these characters.
It felt like it was going to be. It felt like it was going to be like a workplace comedy, especially when he didn't sell in the house and shit like that. It was going to be, it was going to be that sort of fairly light-hearted, almost to a point where if you don't know what you're expecting with the franchise, you're thinking, right, this could be sort of fucking Home Alone type hijinks, but with ghosts.
Yeah, and look, like I said, Eddie Murphy, always watchable. All the cast, to be fair, are pretty good. So I was fine with that. But then, after about 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, I was like, oh, come on, let's just get to it's called Haunted Mansion. Let's just get to it. Right. So we get the phone call and it's all a bit weird. And already just and so to its credit, the backstory in the credits work, because as soon as the phone call comes and is it Elizabeth his wife is? No, Elizabeth's the
Sarah.
Dead, right? Sarah's the wife. You think I'd remember that. Yeah. So Sarah gets the phone call and is told to come alone. Now, straight away,
not
then.
Creepy either. No, that's not creepy at all.
No, but to their credit now, is it to their credit? I don't know. Depends where the story's going to go, which, as it turns out, no, it's not to their credit, I suppose. But as an audience, we're putting two and two together already. Okay. Yeah. We understand now.
Especially with the voice as well, because it's a very, excuse me. No, it's a very eerie. It's quite an authoritative voice, but it's quite eerie and it's quite stunted.
Yes.
It's certainly not the Terrence Stamp you expect.
No.
But you can tell that it's not an earthly, not an ordinary voice. So as you say, even if you haven't quite twigged that this is going to be the house where the kid dropped all the flyers at the beginning, you get the impression it's somewhere not very fucking good, because it's called a haunted mansion, so you're expecting a haunted house, and also the way he's speaking, you're thinking, right, okay, well, they're trying to lure her for some reason. I don't know why. I want to keep watching to find out why.
Yeah, well, I'd already worked out that, and not because I watched it before, but just from the ballroom stuff at the start, where we had the letter exchange hands, and then Gracie hung himself.
I assumed that was going to be the case.
Okay, this is unrequited love, and she's the reincarnated soul of it. Like, I was there, I'd worked that out, and the intent is for us to work that out. They're giving us that information.
Yeah.
So, to me, like, that works on one level. Like I said, the talent is there, that works, but then that leaves us no mystery whatsoever. I'd already knew everything that was going on by the time this happened. I was like, okay, I see how this is going to work. They did pull the rug out from under me in that it didn't work. It didn't go down rather the way I thought it would, because nothing fucking happens. I mean, in my mind, she was going to go there, essentially get kidnapped.
Yeah.
Look, here's the better film, okay? And I'll point this out as we go through. But here's the better film. She goes there. Gracie can still be benevolent and everything, and the butler can still be, spoilers, the bad guy, okay? But she goes there. She's essentially held...
It's not really a spoiler, because the butler fucking did it. The butler always fucking does it.
Right, she goes there. She's held hostage by the mansion. So the butler commands the house, turns the house against Eddie Murphy, okay? So he gets immediately, when he gets there and he shouldn't be there, we have an initial scene with him. He immediately gets turfed out of the mansion with the kids in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
like however you want to do it is absolutely fine. But he gets turfed.
You turn into a fucking maze where you start going down corridors, you get lost, and you end up going through a door you think takes you back to the dining room, actually takes you outside, and once you're out, you can't get back in.
Exactly. Done. And so then the rest of the film is that the house is working against him. He has to get back indoors, work his way up to the attic or to the ballroom or whatever it's going to be to save his wife.
Yeah.
There's the better film.
Well, like, first off, it's a fucking story.
Why isn't this that? Because that is all we needed. The characters are there, okay? The characters are fine. It works. That way he doesn't have to have a sort of disassociative relationship with the kids or the wife. It's just a case of, that's the woman I love. That's the mother of my children. She's trapped inside. We have to go and save her. That's fine.
And again, we've already had this bit whereby he misses their anniversary dinner because he's working, and with best intentions, and you always see it in these films, the intentions are good, and he just gets caught up in something that, in business terms, is really good. And as their business partners, you'd expect her to be on board with that, because it's an extra fucking house for them to sell or whatever it was. So, but if you want to you want to raise the stakes, it's not that she forgives him and it's all lighthearted and they go agree to go away on this trip. She needs to be fucked off with him. There needs to be a threat to their relationship to give her, so that even if it's just in his mind, there's a threat that she might actually revert to this guy. She might actually fall for Gracie, because she's so fucked off with him that she's so angry that their relationship is so damaged. He is genuinely concerned,
and all of that's there if you want it as well. So it's all there, and actually, it is fucking in the script. You can see this stuff. You can see the bones of it, and I really feel like it was there at some point, and it's been removed.
It's just it's played too nice is the problem. The home stuff is played too saccharine.
Yeah.
And let's be fair. I mean, I've got a wife and 2 kids. We don't always all get along. Sometimes I get home from work. I haven't had a really long fucking day. I'm in a mood. I'm not all nice to the kids, and everything's not great. And my first response is, let's all go away for the weekend. It's, why don't you all fuck off and leave me alone so I can have a pint in peace?
Yeah, that's it.
That's real life. But they've held back on that. And they've gone, okay, well, this is Disney, so everything has to be perfect. Even when it's not, we have to present it as being the stable family unit, and what would be our normal, if you like, where we have a happy family, and the happy family is challenged in a way that almost breaks them.
Yeah, or even if you don't want to push that, and you don't want to present a dysfunctional family, or an outwardly dysfunctional family anyway, there's another way you can go down that, where when Eddie Murphy's character is there, he's so wound up in wanting to sell the house that he spends an entire dinner himself talking to Gracie, trying to sell him, whilst the butler's giving his wife the tour, and the mansion is slowly working its spell on her.
Yeah, it's weaving her in.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then he's responsible for the fact that she's now captured in the mansion. Maybe she can even get possessed, and maybe you do make Elizabeth call her fucking Constance, make her an evil. Yeah, but I'm not about. I'm on about the ghost. You make her an evil. You make her an evil character. Okay, make her Constance. Have her possess Sarah. Have Sarah be the then villain. Yeah, there's all of this stuff you can pull out of it.
Yeah,
and it's not there, and it's so fucking easy.
And there's some really rich and really really fine strands to pull at with this. Yeah. And as you said, it's almost in the script, and you just get the impression it's been dialed back and stripped out to Disney-fy it.
Definitely, which again, I just keep coming back to. It's so fucking weird because it's a Disney product to begin with. Like it's not like this is an adaptation of fucking some, I don't know, Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
This is a fucking Disney property to begin with. It's so fucking weird. Anyway, right, let's start going through it, because I could fucking bitch about this all night. First note, once we're out of this bit with Eddie Murphy and they're towards the mansion.
Yeah.
He answers the phone at the wheel of the car on the way to the mansion. For some reason, that really fucking bugged me. He's got all the kids and his wife in the car, and he answers his phone, and he's yakking on his phone while he's fucking driving towards the mansion. That's really fucking irresponsible to show on screen.
But this was 2003. It was fine back then. Nobody ever died from it then.
I know. It just shows the age of it. It would be fine even if it was an action film or something like that. But it just felt, because we'd been playing Happy Families for 20 minutes, this just felt really fucking weird. We get to the mansion, and here is the first point in the film, to be honest, where I start. Well, I wasn't keen on the credits, as I say, but this is the first point where I'm looking at it going, something's wrong. Because the mansion itself is quite clearly CG.
Yeah.
And again, it's called the Haunted Mansion. It's been made by Disney. Why is it not either of the Haunted Mansions?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it? It's a weird hodgepodge of both. It's kind of it's got the facade of the Haunted Mansion in California. It's got that kind of southern mansion house feel.
Well, it's set in like Louisiana, isn't it?
Which it's New Orleans in California. So it's got that kind of period feel to it, but then it's got kind of the gazebo and the European Gothic influence of the Florida mansion.
Yeah,
and so
because I mean I've not seen the California one, so that's the one I sort of recognized. But it's no, as you say, it's not either or. It's kind of a weird mix. But if you're gonna do that, if you're not gonna stick with one, if you're not gonna say, right, we're gonna use the California one as an example, make a fucking new one. Design one that fits what you need.
Yes, exactly.
If you're not gonna base it on a property you already own and already have, so you have an aesthetic there, and B, you're not gonna build the cunt anyway. You can do it in CG. Do something completely fucking new.
Yep. It just struck me as weird that it didn't.
Although, I mean, that in itself bugged me. I mean, we had a conversation back in about 2004, 2005 when Monster House came out.
Yeah.
And the conversation we had was along the lines of, why did the entire film need to be CG? They could have quite easily made that film as a live action film. Yeah. And that was my gripe with this as well. There are too many things that are CG that didn't need to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah, completely. But it was 2003. CG was the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Ruined it. So yeah, the mansion bugged me, and I think I get it in the. Certainly California's mansion, less so Florida's. Florida's looks a little bit run down, but it's still quite well kept. But certainly California's mansion, part of the beauty of it, and Walt Disney himself was very insistent on this, was that it had to fit into Disneyland. So it couldn't look like a rundown, dilapidated house. The line from Walt was always, we'll take care of the outside and the ghosts will take care of the inside. So on film, it's not going to look like your stereotypical haunted house. But that's part of the beauty of the Haunted Mansion, is that it's a mansion, but it looks beautiful from the outside. It looks like this pristine manor house.
Well, that's it.
It's that cracked facade when you go in.
Yeah. Well, that's it. From the outside, you want the garden, the grounds to be immaculate. You want the gates and the fencing and all the pillars. And you want it all to be perfect. You want the house to look like it's made of solid fucking gold. You want some proper Gatsby shit going on. And then when you go inside, it's almost like you cross the threshold and you have to step back out and go, it's the same fucking house.
And straight away, as an audience, that would put you on edge. So I guess it could have worked then, actually. Particularly, if you've got a house like that and then they get the reveal of the graveyard, for instance.
Yes.
That would have been much creepier if it was a perfectly normal looking house. And if the first reaction when they pull up and they see this pristine mansion is, whoa, this is worth some money. This is a big score.
This is a big deal for us.
Yeah. But they don't do that. They give us this weird hodgepodge. Like, small fish, okay? I'm not super bothered about it, but it was the first thing where I went, oh, I don't like that. Then we get into the mansion. We get introduced to the butler and stuff. Now, there's more stuff outside the mansion as well. They start squabbling a little bit and stuff. And I'm all for getting to know the characters. And I've enjoyed it thus far. But we're approaching probably the 25-minute mark now.
Yeah, might be near 30, to be honest.
Where are the scares? This is called Haunted Mansion. Like, I know these characters now. You've done your job. I know the characters. Where are the fucking scares? There's no mood, and this is just totally killing it. For a start, why the fuck do they arrive in the middle of the day? Like, for what possible good reason do they arrive? Why is it not nighttime? Like, it starts raining as they approach the mansion. That's cool, and that's actually a nice little touch to the original story. There is... Incidentally, I said there's various different stories to the Haunted Mansion. The official one was released on a CD. It came with a book as well. And when the guys that are going up to check on the mansion arrive, it starts raining. So they do that. Okay, that works well. But why have them arrive in the middle of the day? What possible good does that do?
I mean, the thing is, you from a story point of view, you get they're going on a trip, so you get the fact that they're calling there on the way. I get that. I appreciate that. But I say it's far more atmospheric if they get lost or they get delayed or so they're arriving at night. Then the whole graveyard thing is spooky as fuck.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden it's a graveyard in fucking pitch black in this really weird fucking place. So that would be better. But also the fact they go into the house, it's daytime, and then it starts raining, and all of a sudden it's really fucking dark, and the rain has come down and everything's flooded. It's like, hang on, how did that happen in the space of 2 minutes?
Yep.
It's just kind of going, oh yeah, we need a reason why they can't leave.
Yeah, it's bollocks. It's bollocks. So they get there. Initially, when they walk through the threshold, and I've written the note here that the set, I've put the sets are stunning. What I should have written was the set is stunning, because there ain't many fucking rooms to this mansion.
No.
We don't see much of this motherfucker.
And again, this is the sort of thing you use if you want to build up your scares. You don't want to be too scary because it's a family product. You want to build up your scares without having things jumping out and people getting dismembered and shit like that. You want to build up this fat thing of getting lost, being able to get lost in this place. And they try it. They do try it with Eddie Murphy. He finds a secret passage and he goes off and he gets stuck behind the walls and you see him moving the eye holes in the paint and shit like that. They try it, but then they throw it away. There's no tension to it.
None. There's no tension because there's no stakes. Yeah. And I'll comment on that later on. We don't understand what the stakes are because there's no ticking clock. There's no threat. There's no tangible threat at all until we get to the crypt at the end. Yeah. There's nothing. So they get in. Ramsley appears. Now, this may be a me thing, okay? But this really fucking annoyed me as well. Why did they feel the need to, Fox X-Men his uniform? He's wearing a really toned down kind of real world palette version of the ride operator's uniform from the Haunted Mansion. He's got instead of a green and black striped waistcoat, he's got a sort of mustardy yellow and grey waistcoat, and he's got a purple overcoat. Fine, but look, it's called the fucking Haunted Mansion. Put him in the fucking Haunted Mansion's butler's outfit.
If you're gonna do it again, and this is what I was saying about shoehorning a property, and if you're going to use the property, use it properly.
Yes.
Take on the character names, take on the character traits, design the fucking product the same or as near as damn it as you can. If there's a particular characteristic of a character, if they speak in a particular way, if they wear a particular costume, use that. You've got the source material there. You don't have to, you don't have to rethink everything. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No.
And this is my big problem with this. As I said, that it's not the Haunted Mansion, but it's not anything else either, because there's a decent pseudo horror film in here
Somewhere, I agree.
Somewhere, but it's been watered down beyond belief to a point where I think it's the very first scene of the very first episode of Malcolm in the Middle, whereby the father is watering down the orange juice in the fridge because they can't afford to buy more. And the mother turns around and said, "There's no point. You've been watering down water for the last 4 weeks." Yeah. And it's kind of like that. It's diluted to a point where you're not even diluting it anymore. You're just replacing it.
Yeah, but, as we were saying, there is something in there. Like, at this point now, for all I've grumbled about them arriving in the day, as you say, when they get there, it starts raining. It turns to, there's a storm. So at this point now, they've walked in, they've seen the graveyard, there's cobwebs everywhere, there's a storm raging outside, that set is stunning, and we've got all the ingredients now. They're in the Haunted Mansion, we've got a spooky butler, there's a storm raging, and he starts giving it all, the master is not well.
Yeah.
He starts giving it all of that, and you're like, well, there's something here now. Why is he not well? Is he dead? Is he a psycho killer? What's going on? So yeah. There's something there, but we need more scares. The atmosphere is all fine, but we're not building tension and releasing it, which is vital to horror. We've talked about that on this podcast before. You build tension, you release it, and especially in comedy horror, because that's what the comedy works for.
Yeah.
It releases the tension. But it's just, it lacks teeth is the thing. It is like completely lacking in teeth, isn't it? Yeah. It's just so bland. So, I mean, then we get the Vanishing Maid, for instance. Again, it's got all the ingredients. This is all good stuff. Yeah. But now it's all coming thick and fast. And it's like, why is this not spaced out? Why? Yeah. With this, we need to discover this slowly. You need to draw us in.
Well, this is it. And again, you want to make the house a character, because the fucking house is the thing. Yeah. So you build up on the fact that you get the maid and she disappears. Even to a point where there's some nice there are lots of paintings. They do it once or twice where the paintings move after Eddie Murphy passes them, but there are so many bits of art they could make that a feature without dwelling too hard on it. You could quite easily you have a statue that's eyes move, or a painting that all of a sudden it changes in the frame, so once it disappears from frame and comes back in, it's a different painting. There are loads of really subtle things that you can do to convey the fact that there's some shit going on with the house, but they don't build on any of that.
And that all ties into the mansion as well. The paintings are, as you go into the ride, as you first go in on your Doom buggies, those paintings, or actually in California, you're walking down a hall and see those paintings. Those are from the ride. The busts are from the ride. The very first place you go through, or one of the very first places you go through, is the library. Okay, they all work well. They draw you in as a fan, and they are spooky. In fact, that whole section, just before he gets to Leota, because then it goes all kinds of wrong. But the wallpaper changes, because again, I'm looking at it going, where's the fucking mansion wallpaper? And then he goes down the hallway, and he's walking down the portrait gallery, and then he rounds the corner by the bus, and then there's the mansion wallpaper, and there's the beating door. And it's like, okay, this is the Haunted Mansion. And it's creepy and spooky and everything that it should be. And that's what we need. But instead, what we get is this kind of weird... So he's done his bit where he's... Like, Eddie Murphy's introduced himself to Gracie and stuff. And then they all kind of go their separate ways exploring the mansion. He has a slight sort of falling out with Sarah. And they all kind of go their separate ways. So the kids are off chasing Elizabeth's glowy ball around. Yeah. Eddie Murphy's just having a wander, basically.
Yeah. And again, this is like we're saying, he gets summoned to go and meet Gracie. So he goes off and he gets lost. Brilliant. You've got you've got opportunity here for some real scares, some real tension, some real threat.
Yes.
But instead, we get him wandering around with a candelabra going, hello? Hi, hello? Is anybody there? It's like, fucking hell. It's like my gran answering the phone.
And meanwhile, Gracie then manages, because sort of Ramsley set it up that he's lost and he's wandering around. Gracie gets to spend some time with Sarah, who's gone down looking for Eddie Murphy's character. Jim? It's Jim, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's Jim. Gone down looking for Jim. And then Gracie just drops this exposition bomb on her, gives us all the fucking backstory here. And it's weird because he gives it to us in chunks. So we cross cut with the kids doing their exploring.
Yeah.
And it just feels weird because we've already seen it in the credits as well. So why not just drop it from the credits entirely? Don't give it to us in its entirety here, but have Gracie start sowing those seeds as the kids are exploring. Have Gracie start saying, "Oh yes, well, my one true love committed suicide, and I've never been able to forgive myself for it. I feel like I'm responsible. You know, this mansion holds bad memories," and that builds atmosphere. But then stay with that and don't cut to the fucking kids chasing a glowy blue fucking orb.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Because that ain't fucking scary.
No, and again, it could be. There's potential there. No, if there's
in the right context, yeah.
If there's some sort of threat associated with this glowing ball, if there's something that you're thinking, hang on, well, no, if we've had something that's alluding to it before now that makes you think actually it might be a little bit sinister, again, it gives us something to focus on, something to dwell on. Whereas actually you're going, oh, okay, it's fucking Tinkerbell floating around the place.
You see, the key problem with it is it doesn't feel threatening because there's no tangible threat. At this point, we don't really know. Like, Ramsey's creepy, but he doesn't seem evil.
No, that's right. And he's done nothing. Nobody's done anything to suggest that there's a threat.
No, he doesn't seem malevolent at all, does he? But then when you get Gracie then as well, he's charming and pleasant and disarming and not actually in the slightest bit creepy.
Yeah.
So at least if Sarah was alone with a Gracie that's actually just a little bit off, then that would build the atmosphere. And then, you know, if he just hits those lines properly about how, you know, he thinks his spirit is trapped here and things like that, and then we get the kids chasing the glowing orb and things like that, then we've got something.
Yeah, there's some sort of context.
But we don't have that. And again, this is all being told to us before we've even had a chance to explore the mansion.
Yeah.
So we're not looking for an explanation as to what's going on because we don't fucking know what's going on.
Yeah, we don't know there's anything going on.
No.
We've not fucking seen it.
No. So, again, I think the scene works.
Yeah, the scene is good. It's just...
It doesn't mean anything. So... Yeah, so then I've written here the next note. We've already talked about it. We've got Eddie Murphy exploring, and the portraits and the busts are fucking great. It is much more like it. That scene is fantastic. Actually, the mansion wallpaper looks a bit out of place when you see it in the real world in Bright Pill. But look, I'll fucking go with it because it's fucking mansion wallpaper, and I own it as a print on multiple things in this fucking house. I own it on my fucking COVID masks. Like I cannot criticize this fucking pattern. Okay. So, but again, as he's explored, we cross-cut back to the kids. So all of the tension that's being built up is killed entirely when we go back to the kids who are not in danger. Yeah. Then we get a mirror. We get the scene where he's in the attic and he finds the mirror. And that's a good jump scare.
Yeah.
Like, we need more of that. Like, the CG's fucking terrible, but that's what we need. We need more of that.
Yeah.
You know, he looks in the mirror and he sees his decayed face and stuff. It's not explained why exactly that's happening, but haunted mansion, who cares, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's it. But again, this is the sort of thing that bugs me, is that it's a one and done. It's a decent scare, but we don't, at any point, we don't see that later on where they're walking past it and all of a sudden everybody's decaying, but nobody sees it. You know, there are things you can do just to convey how fucked up this house is. Yeah. And they just don't take any of them.
No. And so then we get the reveal. The kids find the portrait, and of course Elizabeth looks like Sarah. But
dun, dun, dun.
We already know that
because he's already fucking told us.
Because he's told us. So this doesn't fucking work. Like, this is why the cross-cutting doesn't work. It's really fucking... But look, we've had... It's starting to go downhill rapidly, but the stuff with Eddie Murphy was good. But then, thank fuck, Wallace Shawn shows up.
Thank fuck for Wallace Shawn. I love Wallace Shawn.
So do I. And let's be fair, he's never anything but Wallace Shawn. And
no, exactly.
Like, he's 100% Wallace Shawn in this as well.
Yeah, but absolutely.
He's fucking brilliant, isn't he? Like, he could save anything, honestly. He is literally just being Wallace Shawn here, but I will take that. It's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
However, my next note, and I've already addressed it. Why the fuck is Elizabeth not called Constance? That is just such a gimme that I don't understand. I don't fucking understand why you wouldn't do that.
No.
But anyway, we get the revelation, and we get some exposition dropped by Wallace Shawn. And then we get just the most horrible, weirdest cut into the Leota scene.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And then, then there's Madame Leota. Look, I love Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I love Jennifer Tilly. I'm even to a point where I'll sit down and quite happily watch fucking Bride of Chucky and stuff like that.
Yeah, love her.
Love
She's
the woman.
not Madame Leota, though. Like,
no,
that voice,
not at all.
That voice is all kinds of wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that... supposed to be fucking Eleanor Audley. How do you cast Jennifer fucking Tilly? Why the hell do you, like, for what good Leota actually does here? Let's be fair. For, like, she's there for set dressing, okay?
Yeah, it's another weird thing, isn't it? She
doesn't actually add much in terms of exposition.
No.
She's talking in riddles anyway. Why don't you just use the ride audio?
Well,
why don't you just use fucking Leota? Maybe there's a rights issue.
But then again, it's Disney and Disney, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's dead performers, so it's getting the family involved and stuff as well. But look, even if you're not getting Jennifer Tilly, okay, and I know she's a lot younger at this point, so we're in 2003, and I know we're not there with Maleficent and stuff yet, but like Angelina Jolie is a person that exists in this world. Like,
well,
why,
I mean, of course,
why did you not go there? She would have been cheap enough at this point as well.
Well, yeah, but no, at this point, she's making a name for herself. She's around.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. She's around. She's not like Maleficent level superstar yet.
No, but she's getting there. I mean, she's done.
Yeah, she's fucking getting there.
I mean, she's done Girl Interrupted and stuff. No, she's
easily done that. When was Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
2005.
There you go. Right. Okay.
So she's on the fucking verge of sort of skyrocketing, and she's already up there anyway. But she's on the verge of becoming like megastar.
I mean, maybe she's too big at this point then, because you've already got Eddie Murphy.
Maybe. I mean, the budget on this was fucking huge anyway, so maybe that wouldn't, or maybe that was a factor.
But look, she's an actress you could have cast. Or if you're not gonna go for the obvious, like let's get the attitude and let's get the voice down. If you want to go for somebody that you can make look like Leota, like why didn't you? What's fucking Susan Sarandon? Like why? What is wrong with these people? Like, it's fucking Disney. It's just like, it's not like they've got empty pockets.
Well, no, that's right. And I mean, to be fair, I mean, you could even do it. I mean, given they're so intent on fucking CG and everything anyway, get a fucking unknown.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. Like, I've got to be honest, just about anybody would have been better than Jennifer Tilly to play.
Well, yeah, especially when they're not letting Jennifer Tilly be Jennifer Tilly.
No, because this is the thing, like very, very few parts of this film do they slavishly stick to the ride. Yeah. When they do pull stuff out of the ride, tends to be throwaway stuff. But she's in it quite a bit. So she's a character they're going to use. But Leota is also a huge part of the ride. So you can't just you can't reinvent that character. So you have to have somebody play that character. So, yeah, she's not going to be Jennifer Tilly because she has to be Jennifer Tilly playing Madame Leota. But the problem is that voice is just so wrong. Like, it doesn't fucking match with what Leota needs to be. It's not scary at all. And it's not, like, it works for Tiffany in Bride of Chucky because she sounds psychotic.
Yeah.
But that's not what Leota should sound like. So, yeah.
I mean, I got the impression with this. I mean, I knew it was Jennifer Tilly. It took me a second to realize who it was. Mainly because I was half asleep. But yeah, it was just one of those. I'm thinking, she's not a good fit for it.
Not at all.
Whatever she's trying to do or whatever they're trying to get her to do doesn't work.
No,
and it's like obviously she's being directed and she's doing she's putting her spin on it, but she's acting as directed as well. And it's just like, do they not know what to do with her, or does she not know what to do with the character, or are they not placing that much stock in it, and she's just getting paid?
She's just fundamentally miscast. It's that simple. Like, she is not right. She is not. And like I said, I love Jennifer Tilly generally, but she is not right for this role. Some actors just aren't right for. I couldn't play Madame Leota.
No,
and neither can she. So. That's just the way it is.
I work on their theory. I made a good fist of it, and it'd cost them a lot less money.
Oh yeah. I mean, I couldn't have been any fucking worse. I'll be honest.
Well, that's it.
And me in drag's probably scarier than Jennifer Tilly. Anyway, she's just a terrible, terrible choice.
Yeah,
and
I think you're right there.
it pulled me out of the film immediately, and to the point where all of the good that they had done up until this point, I was starting to drift. Okay, I liked the start, then I was starting to fucking drift and question what was going on and starting to get bored. Then we had all that stuff with Eddie Murphy, and I was like, this is all good.
Yeah.
But then she's awful. The fucking scene with Leota anyway is awful. Like, we've had all of this fucking build up, and we get like, we've had it, he finds Madame Leota, he's gone down the hall, and you're expecting her to drop like this big exposition bomb and for it to be really scary, and instead, and all right, she talks in rhymes and stuff because that's what Leota does, and she does give us the exposition, the same as we've been having downstairs, which we've already heard it all, so I don't see why we need her. But the scene is just fucking terrible. It's appallingly handled. The way everything's swirling around him, it all looks terrible. And look, terrible. I know that is Leota's room. I know what they're doing, but it doesn't work because it just doesn't fit now. This isn't the film that we're watching. So yeah, it's just fucking terrible. And she gives him this fucking mission. Like, Leota acts as our mission giver. She's like, we've had the backstory. It's not so much exposition. I've said that, for her to drop exposition, but she doesn't. It's more, she's our fucking sage. She's our mission giver. She's like, you have to go and find the fucking chest and you need the key and all this sort of shit. Why though? Like, what? I don't. What are we trying to achieve?
Well, no, but again, even if you're thinking, right, here, that's what this film is going to be. We're now going to go. We're going to go into this, underworldy sort of quest bit, and that's going to take us a bit of time. It comes too fucking late in the film because the film doesn't know what it is at this point, and B, when they do go on it, it lasts all of 30 fucking seconds.
But why are they even going it? Because yes, okay, we know that Elizabeth looks like Sarah. We know that and that's what Gracie wants, right? We know all of that. We've been told that. But there's still no threat, is there?
No.
At no point, he hasn't kidnapped them. He hasn't threatened to kill her.
She's shown no sign of thrall. She's still
nothing.
herself. There's nothing going on with her.
No, there is
she's being polite to the fucking house owner when he's showing her around.
There is no threat here whatsoever. So why Eddie Murphy decides to go on this quest and not just go, fuck this?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting my wife and we're going on holiday like I fucking planned.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Murphy, incidentally, he's got a skit about why black people would just never actually be in a horror movie situation in real life because they're too smart and they just go, fuck this shit, I'm going.
Yeah.
And like that, it feels like that's what he should be doing here.
Yeah.
Just going, fuck this.
Yeah, it's like, this is all bullshit. I'm off.
Yeah. And I feel like, why does he need to go to the crypt and get the fucking key? Why?
Yeah.
What's the fucking point? What's he possibly... He doesn't know Gracie well enough to want to help him. There's no tangible threat to his wife. His kids are fine.
Yeah.
Like, he's okay. Well, he hasn't even seen, apart from a door beating, he hasn't even seen some spooky shit. He didn't see the paintings. He didn't clock the busts.
No, he saw his face, didn't he, in the mirror?
Yeah, and that's it. So
the disembodied head in a crystal ball.
So fuck it. Whatever.
It's like, okay, that's fucked up. I'm out.
Yeah, like the comedy horror balance is just all wrong as well, which is why Leota isn't working. Like, Leota, I feel like it's correct that she's a good guy. I feel like that's right. Leota should definitely be on the side of good because she's the kind of mentor figure. But she's not, because it's Jennifer Tilly. Like, she's not fucking scary. Like, this scene needs to be creepy as well.
Well, the thing you can do this in two ways, well, because you can make with a better performance, you can make the scene creepy. But again, you can break that with a bit of comedy at the end, whereby she's talking in riddles and all this shit, and he still doesn't get it. In the end, she just drops it into a normal voice and goes, "Go and find a fucking key." Just completely break it off, make a joke of the whole thing, and you've had that. You've had the build, you've had the release, and then we move on. Yeah. But as it is, it's just it's a nonsense scene. It just doesn't fucking do anything.
And I mean, again, I'm just spitballing ideas here that are literally coming to me right now. But we've had all of the build up with the exposition downstairs as well.
Yeah,
we haven't really seen any ghosts or anything as such at this point. We've only seen kind of Ramsley and the maid vanish and stuff, and we assume that Wallace Shawn is a ghost as well. Yeah. Nothing signifies they're ghosts because they just look like fucking people. We'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah.
So at that point, so we're starting to ratchet the tension. So why not, again, bearing in mind it's called The Haunted Mansion, we're at roughly the midpoint of the film. Yeah. At roughly the midpoint in the ride, you get to Leota's room. And at that, when you get to Leota's room, before you get there, you haven't seen any ghosts. you've seen stuff move, you've seen the paintings, you've seen all sorts of creepy shit. You haven't seen any ghosts. It's Leota that summons the ghosts. So why don't we do that here? Why don't all of a sudden, if she's going to set him off on his quest now, she's the mission giver, she brings the mansion to life.
Because not only that, I mean, at this point, he's got no reason to believe any fucking thing.
No.
So if she's there proving something. Okay, well, you need this quest. I don't need to do shit. Well, actually, you do. Appear ghosts.
Yeah.
Easy.
And like, look, you just throw in some other thing, which they did allude to. They allude to this, but they never really expand on it, which makes the end not pay off. But there's a kind of a Beauty and the Beast vibe going on here as well, where all the ghosts are trapped there because of the tragedy that happened in the manor.
Yeah.
So you play it that Leota herself wants to be freed, so she needs him to do this thing.
Yeah.
And so then, if he's going to refuse, then she's like, okay, well, look. And like, so she brings the mansion to life to force him to work with, to force him to go and get the key. So they could have done that, and that would have been scarier, but they didn't, and they had
Jennifer it would have had a point as well.
Yep. But fuck points in this film. Honestly,
not fucking scoring any, I know that.
Yeah, no, they're not. There is less fucking point to this than an episode of Game of Thrones. So your comedy horror balance is all wrong, and then just when you think the comedy horror balance can't get any worse, and like I said, I love Wallace Shawn, I really do, but when Eddie Murphy finds the fucking trunk immediately as well, it's like, oh, you got to find a trunk. Oh, there it is, and then they're like, all right, now we need the key, and for some reason, then he decides he can't get out of the mansion, and they need to find a way out. It's like, but the kids know the way out, and the servants know the way out, and you can just walk out the door, mate.
Yeah.
So
nothing's
stopping you.
I don't get where that came from, because they couldn't leave because of the rain and the flooding.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. But what's stopping him going outside to his car? What's stopping him going for a walk in the grounds?
And when we do go outside, mind you, there is no rain or flooding.
No.
But so what's stopping all of that, other than they really wanted, and fuck me, they work for this line, they really wanted Wallace Shawn to drop "There's Always My Way."
Yeah.
With a big crash zoom as well. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Look, it's a line from the ride. Look. And then they crash to the side of the mansion in a fucking skeletal horse and carriage. Right. Why is that indoors to start with? Let's start there.
If it's going to be indoors, why is it not in a barn?
Yes.
Why is it on the fucking first floor?
In the fucking attic. They're in the attic. But they bust out through the first floor.
Yeah.
But they're in the fucking attic.
Yeah. So why is it in the why is the horse and why is the carriage in the house?
So none of that makes sense, right? How does it actually bust through a wall when it's a fucking skeleton?
Yeah, it's going to smash it to bits, isn't it?
Smash. Okay, so
let's pretend. Carriage.
Right, yeah. Let's pretend it's a ghost one. Okay, how does Eddie Murphy not go fucking splat?
Yeah.
Okay, and why, why, in the best points of view voice, are the ghosts all of a sudden fucking blue and see-through?
Yeah.
Now,
why are they but nobody else?
Later on, when Ramsley starts to ascend, you can basically, when the moonlight hits them, they go blue. A la Pirates of the Caribbean turned into ghost pirates. Fine. But this film would have been so much fucking scarier if they were all fucking blue to begin with, except for Ramsley and fucking Gracie.
Yeah.
Like, because then they look like ghosts, not just people.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that is appalling and makes no sense whatsoever. And this is the point I absolutely wrote the film off. The ghost carriage bursting through the wall after "There's Always My Way" is because that line is totally misdelivered as well. Like, I know you want to throw a line in from the ride, but that's not how it's delivered in the fucking ride.
Well, this is it. And like I said earlier, I mean, the aesthetic is good. The skeletal horse and the carriage and the image of it is good. It's a really nice. It's a nice idea. The image works, but I said there's no logic behind it. And logic is always my fucking bugbear in these things. Anyway, it needs to stand up. And like I said, it looks really good, and like even the ghosts look good. When they're on the side of the road, it's almost it's got that Beauty and the Beast vibe where they're trapped there, but it's almost like they're not even trapped in the mansion. They're trapped in the grounds. It's this fucking purgatory. Yeah. And so it's like this fucking shanty town for ghosts. I love the idea of that. They've got nowhere else to go, but they can't even go in the house, so they've got to live outside and just fucking survive. If surviving is the word, and it all adds to their torment, and it's a really good visual, but it's thrown away by the fact it doesn't make any fucking sense. and we spend no time with it.
No time with it at all. Bearing in mind the graveyard is the biggest scene in the ride.
Yeah.
And we're out in the graveyard now, and we just zip through it. More to the point, like we zip straight past. Like we do see some of the ghosts from the graveyard. The opera singers are in it, but then like the hitchhiking ghosts show up.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's a cameo basically. Yeah. Like,
and this is it. I mean, we talk about this on Game of Moans all the time, that it's not the ride, so it shouldn't. If it's going to deviate from the ride, then deviate from it, but do it properly. If you're trying to make a version of the ride, then make the fucking ride. Don't try and cherry pick bits and go, oh well, yeah, we like that bit, but that bit don't work, and that bit doesn't suit, or we want to try something else. If you're adapting it, adapt it. If you're remaking it, fucking verbatim, remake it verbatim. If you're going, oh, there's a ride called the Haunted Mansion, and we can use that to get our licensing, get some money from Disney and make it what we fucking want to make. Do that, but don't try and cross it over, and don't try and pander to people who were expecting something better.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather have not seen the hitchhiking ghosts.
Yeah,
than them give us this.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
They're terrible. This is one bit of trivia I do know about the film, is that they did originally have a much bigger part. They were actually quite central to the whole film, which they fucking should be. They're the poster children for the Haunted Mansion. Like,
well, yeah, exactly.
It's just the things, the fucking hitchhiking ghosts, like they're front and center of the Haunted Mansion. Okay, and this is a comedy horror, and they are funny, scary characters.
Yes.
Okay, like they absolutely should be there, but they got edited out because they were seen as being superfluous. They were window dressing, so they're just there for the one scene.
Yeah, but again, now, it shows that the product when they put the product together, it's not, the product isn't the product.
No, it shows that there was something there, and I think that what was there was probably closer to what we were talking about. Because to me, this comes in the wrong place. This thing of him getting trapped outside the mansion, because he tries to get back in later on as well, and he can't get back in. This all comes in the wrong place. This is the start of Act 2. This is our mission. This is like he's trapped outside now, and the hitchhiking ghosts need to help him get back inside.
Yeah. And that would work. But I mean, even this, like after this, they go on they go out in the carriage. They go to the crypt. They come back. He goes back into the house, finds the trunk, finds out what he needs to know, and then gets thrown out by Ramsley, and then he can't get back in.
Yeah.
So, well, hang on. Why?
Makes no sense. Yeah. There's no quest. There's no quest there at all.
Yeah. If you're Ramsley, and at this point, by the time he throws him out, we know what he's done. We know what the threat is, even though we're rapidly approaching the end of Act 2. If you're going to do that, you would try to separate, as I said earlier on, you would try to separate the wife from the rest of the family very early on. By turning the house against him, turn it into a fucking maze, turn it so he turns left instead of right, ends up outside, and then can't get back in. Don't make it that he goes outside, he finds what he needs to find, he does the work, and then gets cast out.
Yes,
because it's at that point it's too little, too late.
It is too little, too late, and so it leaves me at this point now as well, because it's in this weird midpoint of the film, and all of a sudden now we're fucking around in the graveyard and the crypt. And I'm like, why are we spending so much time now outside the mansion? The film is called The Haunted Mansion, not the fucking haunted graveyard. Now, if we'd have started in the graveyard and we had to get back into the mansion because the mansion's a tangible threat, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But for us to have to leave the mansion to have our big climactic showdown, essentially, of Act 2 in the fucking graveyard makes no sense whatsoever. We get the repetition when he's going down into the tomb. We get the repetition of 20 minutes tops. You mentioned it earlier at the start. It seems to be this catchphrase the character has. It comes back in the end as well.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like this was probably a thing. 20 minutes was a thing. Because it's a recurring gag here, but it's lost because whatever the actual setup was seems to have been lost. It's been mentioned a few times.
Yeah. Well, I think the setup was when they first went to the. I think when they first went to the mansion, that was how long they said it was going to take to go in, have a look around, and then get back on the road for their holiday. So that's the first time it comes up. So rather than it being when he's on the phone, right at the beginning,
doesn't he? Does it in the bar as well at the beginning, though, doesn't he? Doesn't he go like, "It's one drink, 20 minutes tops"?
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure he does.
If he'd done that, I'd have accepted that. That's his thing. He's on the phone to Sarah. Yeah, I'm just on my way. 20 minutes tops, and every time he goes out, if it is, I'll apologize because I didn't catch it, but that's how I'd have done it. That's how I'd have seeded it. He used it from the if he uses it from the off when he's on the phone to Sarah when he's trying to close the house with fucking blonde woman from Suits whose name I can't remember, and her husband when the husband's not sold because there's not enough plugs or whatever it was. When he's on the phone there, finish up with that. Yeah, 20 minutes tops. Then he's in the bar, does it again. Then they go to they take this detour to go to the mansion, use it again. Then they use it consistently, and that's fine. But it seems to be thrown away.
Yeah, it does. It is thrown away because we don't get the reaction from it. Is the thing. So he goes down into the crypt anyway. And this, like I say, they're trying to make this 20 minutes thing a thing, and it just falls flat. Big capital letters in my notes here. He goes down into the crypt, and this goes to show how. I mean, they must be reading my mind because big capital letters on my notes here. Nothing is fucking happening. There is no threat.
But this is pretty much the only fucking time there is.
Yeah, but up until this point, we're nearly at the end of the film. There's been no threat. His wife is fine. His kids are fine.
Yeah.
No one, aside from him in the mirror, has even really been fucking frightened.
Yeah.
No one's had a scare.
Apart from the kid right at the beginning with the spider on his window.
Yeah, but that wasn't in the mansion.
No, exactly. That's the only time we've had anybody fucking scared.
The only one that's had any fucking kind of scare whatsoever is him with the mirror. Ridiculous. But the zombie setup, once we're down in the crypt, it's excellent. The zombie setup is well done. And you can see when this shit starts going on, there is a much, much better film here. Like I said, everybody's capable. This is so well handled, and it's fucking scary, and it's exciting, and there's threat, and we're rooting for Eddie Murphy because we kind of like, we quite like him. I like his character. Everyone is clearly capable of better, and this just shows it. It's fucking great. That crypt scene is fucking great. And then we even get the spiders returning as well. The kid won't let them out because there's spiders. That works really well because we had that scene at the start. The ingredients are fucking here. Yeah. They are here. What this reminds me of, and it's not, this is a very flattering comparison. This reminds me so much of Suicide Squad. And I love Suicide Squad. I'm one of the people that will go to bat for it. But this feels the same in that all of the parts are there, but it's just this kind of schizophrenic mess. But Suicide Squad carries through on its just sheer energy and the likability of its cast, whereas this goes the other way. It doesn't have the energy and it doesn't have the vibe. Suicide Squad had the vibe, so I kind of just go with the mess of it. Whereas this is just a fucking mess. So again, though, the spiders are good, but the cats are all over the fucking place. Yeah. Because we have this thing, then he has to go down the crypt, find the key, right? He's found the key. Then it's you get the key, now find the trunk. Oh, there's the trunk straight away.
Yeah. But even with the crypt to find the key, the whole thing of talking in riddles, find the black vault with no name, and it's like, well, there it is. Yeah. So there's you could spend. I mean, this runs 86 minutes. This runs at. So I mean, we've established that. That's pretty much spot on the time you want your film to be. However, you need to hit other beats as well, rather than just the runtime. But they could have spent a good 5 minutes in this crypt. Again, if you want to use the house as a character, intercut it with the wife becoming slowly seduced by the house, or slowly becoming more aware of what she is. All this stuff, build that tension in both storylines, both arcs at the same time. Use about 5-8 minutes, building up to the point where they're looking for this thing. There's threats. There's you can have some jumps in there. Some funny stuff to counteract it, but make it a bit of a mission to actually find this fucking crypt this tomb in the first place. Then they get it open. Then they take the key. Then you have the zombies and them trying to escape. And that, the pacing of that bit, I think, is right. But it's they go in there and it's set up like the fucking House of Black and White, where the holes in the wall for all the heads and shit like that. It's set up really nice. It looks, and that's just because where we are in Game of Thrones, and that's fine. But it looked really nice, looked really atmospheric. But they don't use any of it. They literally walk in and it's really well lit because they've got a torch. Yeah, and it's really well lit. And then they go in, they find this black box straight away. There's no difficulty getting hold of the key. It's not even as fucking hard as Indiana Jones, replacing replacing it with the rock. It's none of that. It's just, oh yeah, there it is, ping, gone. And then you get the zombies, and that maybe 3 or 4 minutes you get with the escape from the zombies is really good, and it works really well. It looks really good. It's choreographed really well. So you see, the threat to the little girl when she's under the water and stuff like that. That's all great. That's all brilliant. But I don't feel they've earned it.
No, they haven't earned it at all because there's no tangible threat. We don't know why he's doing this. Find the key, get the trunk. Yeah. Why, though? Why are we doing all of this?
Well, that's it, because even at this point, there's nobody even talking about a fucking curse.
No, nothing. All we know is that Sarah looks like Elizabeth. Gracie was in love with Elizabeth. Elizabeth died. Gracie hung himself.
Yeah.
That's it.
Apart from that, like I say, they're all cursed, but why? How?
Yeah, what does the curse do?
Yeah, what's the curse do? How do you lift it? Those are your stakes. Again,
look, this is easy, and this isn't in keeping with the ride, I know, because it's a bit more sinister. But Ramsley is the butler of the house, okay? Butlers basically run the household. So let's say he's keeping them all trapped because he's feeding off their energy. Okay, and he's feeding the house. He's a servant to the house, and it's all feeding off their energy. So then that works for the house to work against them and raise the zombies and use the beating door. That all works. And actually, Gracie, is a sympathetic character as well because he just wants to be released and be with Elizabeth. And the hitchhiking ghosts just want to cross over. That's why they're hitchhiking. And the servants just want to go because they're fed up of serving Ramsley. And that all works.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do that. It's just we don't understand why they're here.
No, that's it. And I mean, you look at the way the ghosts are set up as well. Like Ramsley is set up. Yes, he's creepy as all fuck. He appears out of nowhere, but there doesn't seem to be any threat with him. The threat appears to be because we've seen the bit right at the beginning with Elizabeth dying, and we at this point we're assuming shit's going on with the house because it's called the fucking haunted mansion. So why wouldn't it be? He is set up immediately to be the villain.
Yes.
And so I appreciate the fact they've tried to twist it, but they don't do enough to make him look like the villain in the first place.
No.
He's not sinister. He's not spooky. He's not scary. He's just a bit of a fucking non-entity. He's just there.
He's just mild-mannered and nice, to be honest. Yeah. Like he's not frightening at all.
Yeah. And even I'm jumping ahead a bit, but even towards the end when Eddie Murphy interrupts the wedding and he challenges him with a sword, even then he's not trying to intimidate or scare. He's trying to fight for his valor and all the rest of it. He's a nice character. They've tried to paint him in a particular way, which I get, and I would do. I would probably do the same thing. But you need to make that a tangible thing rather than just he's skulking a bit, and he's a bit creepy with the wife.
Yeah,
that's not a threat.
No. He needs to be played more Norman Bates, really. He needs to be just a nice, mild-mannered character, but there needs to be something.
There's an edge. There needs to be an edge
off. Something needs to be off. Which, having spent multiple lifetimes alone in this mansion, he would be off.
Yeah.
So it's just missed opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So so they open the trunk, they find the letter that reveals that actually Elizabeth was poisoned. For that to have worked at all, we needed more of the backstory because we saw it briefly in the opening. We saw the exchange of the letters, and then we had a bit of the backstory earlier on from Gracie to Sarah.
Yeah, where he says she took her own life.
But we never know. So this doesn't really fucking hang together.
The whole thing is the letter. The letter is her saying, "Yes, I'll marry you." No, that's fine. But we didn't know that was an issue in the first place. We didn't know that was we didn't know that she'd said no because you didn't see the letter at the start that got burnt.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it said. So we don't know. There's no way of knowing what went on. So then all of a sudden, we find this letter and it says, "Yes, I will marry you." And the servants then have to fill in the gaps because it doesn't fucking mean anything to anybody in the story.
No, absolutely not. So, okay, then we move forward and there's going to be a forced wedding now. They're going to right. So now there's threat because she's going to be forced into marriage.
All of a sudden, he's thrown Eddie Murphy out the window. We now know that it's Ramsley is the villain, and now there's going to be this fucking arranged marriage.
Which, okay, he's a villain because he's acting in a villainous manner and he's kind of forcing this marriage.
Yeah.
And he was a villain earlier because he wouldn't allow the marriage to take place. But then doesn't that mean he's now redeeming himself? So shouldn't he
this is the thing.
technically be a hero?
Well, this is the thing, and I was going to ask you that, and so I don't make notes, but I sort of do, I sort of try to remember things as I'm going along. And that's what I was going to ask you, because his whole thing, he poisoned her, and we found out that he poisoned her to stop the wedding because it would have been detrimental to the household, to the Gracie family, all the rest of it. So he stopped the wedding for the good of, for the good of the Gracie name and whatever else. Fine, okay, bullshit, but whatever. And you can hang a story on that, you can build a story as long as you actually build a fucking story on it. So to then say, okay, well, now all of a sudden he's trapped with everybody else. He can't leave, same as everybody else. He can't pass over. He's died, and he's stuck in that house, same as everybody else. So, yes, okay, he's now brought them back together, and he's trying to force this wedding. To what end? What does he get out of it?
Yeah, that's why I can't work out. He seems to just be doing it because he feels guilty.
Is it that, or is it because it's some sort of fucking manifest destiny thing? He feels he's fucked up, or I don't get it. I don't get why, and I don't.
It's not given to us.
Is it no? Even if it's just because he feels he will then pass over and be able to leave the house, in which case, yes, it's entirely selfish and it's a dick move, but it's still correcting a course that was knocked off by him in the first place.
Yeah.
So even that doesn't make any fucking sense.
None of it makes fucking sense. But anyway, he's going to force this marriage. I don't understand why he's going to do it. It really did bug me at the time as well. Like it.
I mean, even in terms of story, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
No,
because he's basically doing it to undo what he did, but in a really fucking sinister way.
Yeah. Fuck knows. So anyway, he's going to force this marriage, except, and here's where logic takes over. And it's normally you with the logic things, but I'm so pissed off with this film that. I was looking for a few things, and this one's a big fucking logic gap anyway. So there's going to be an arranged marriage. She needs to marry Gracie so they can all cross over. That's great, except she's already fucking married.
Well, yeah, there's that. But also, I mean, the way he convinced her was he showed her visions of her kids trapped.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So they're stuck in a box. We saw them get stuck in a box. That's fine. So. She said, oh, he shows the vision. She said, you wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Oh, no, of course not. But then again, things happen. It's like, he's just said he's not going to fucking do anything to them.
Yeah.
So she has no reason whatsoever to go along with this shit.
And moreover, look, again, here is your point now. We need threat, okay? There needs to be tangible threat for everybody.
Yeah.
She can't marry Gracie because she's married.
Yeah, and also Gracie's dead.
Yeah. Well, forget about that for the time being, okay? She's well, you could go that way, because what I was going to suggest was she can't marry Gracie because she's already married. So the way I was going to go with it is the tangible threat here is they now have to kill Eddie Murphy so that she's no longer married because he's dead. She's now widowed, okay? But actually, no, you're dead right. The better way to do it is they need to kill her so that if
they kill her, is she Sarah's ghost or Elizabeth's ghost?
Well, no, yeah, good point, because Elizabeth's ghost needs to go into her body at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense either, because...
Because Elizabeth's ghost already the fucking blue ball.
Yeah, so why can't she just be a ghost like the others are?
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense either.
No, that makes absolutely zero fucking sense. Like, why is she...
To be fair, I don't know why we're quibbling over what makes sense
in
this fucking movie.
that really... I can't believe I hadn't even thought about that till now, but that makes... How come she is the only ghost that doesn't have a form?
Yeah. Because they all take that blue orb form to ascend.
Yeah.
So if she's already there, why can she not leave? Why and if she's there, why has she not made herself known to the others?
That's the bullshit, that isn't it?
Yep.
This whole thing, look, this was hanging together by sticky tape as it was, but
it was hanging together with fucking blue tack.
Okay, let's say it was hanging together with blue tack. You just blowtorched the fucking blue tack. Like this. This doesn't fucking work at all. Like
by their own fucking mechanic, it doesn't work.
No,
they've built a mechanism, and even that doesn't work because it relies too much on these two entities not being the same person, but being the same person.
My head hurts.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You know, who wins last time we were talking about paradoxes in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
This is a real fucking head scratcher. Even Doctor Who couldn't solve this fucker.
No fucking screwdriver's gonna fix this shit. So anyway, one way or the other, she's already fucking married. She can't marry Gracie. I'm sorry, but she can't. It doesn't fucking work. That's not how marriage works.
No, I'm fairly sure that it's still bigamy.
Yeah. I'm only insisting about this because I'm using it as a plot point in something I'm writing right now, and I'm like, no, look, I worked fucking hard to get to that reveal. You can't just ignore
and you just
it.
Gave the end away.
Oh, no, fucking hell! It's never going to see the light of day, is it? Let's be honest. I'm fucking writing it. But I worked fucking hard to get to that. So anyway, right. So we then find out as Ramsley ascends that apparently moonlight makes the ghosts blue. It doesn't ever get explained. It needs explanation, but we don't get it.
Well, yeah, that's even if it's a fucking throwaway bit where fucking moonlight comes through the window and just catches his arm, and all of a sudden you see his arm transform, a bit like you had in Pirates when you didn't see them as full skeletons first off.
Yes.
Again, and this was the same fucking time. This is Disney Studios in fucking 2003. Yeah. This is the same time as first Pirates. There's no reason why you can't use the same fucking thing.
Nope.
Because then it ties your worlds together as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking terrible. I mean, look, there's a whole... It never really made it into the mansion, but it is now in the graveyard Q section outside in Florida. Like, there is a whole story about a pirate captain that goes with one of the original incarnations of the mansion. If you really wanted to build a fucking universe...
It's there.
Because he's an evil character as well. Like, it was there. You could have done that, and that involves his bride as well.
Yeah. And let's be fair. There's so much stuff in the Disney parks. There are so many things they could build on to make a fucking universe.
Yeah, totally. Again, you could have gone down the Paris route and tied this to Big Thunder Mountain and made a film out of that as well, but they didn't. Anyway, so the Ascension turns them into ghosts, and then Gracie reveals to Sarah what is going on. Now, this needed to happen at the start of Act 2.
Yeah.
And then they have to escape whilst the mansion turns against them to keep her there.
Yeah.
That's the film. And now it's too little too late. We're at the fucking start of Act 3. Doesn't matter now. Like, it's all, like, fucking the ship has sailed.
And let's be fair, the fucking third act of this, it's not far off the third act of fucking Zack and Miri. It takes about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The ship's fucking sailed now. So, and then, Eddie Murphy gets trapped outside because Ramsley throws him outside. Okay. Now, this is the time for him to have to go to the crypt to get the key to get back into the house, not to get into the chest.
Yeah.
Like this is fucking batshit crazy. All the bits of this film are here. It's like I want to sit down in an edit room and just go, right, that goes there. Yeah. That goes there. That goes there. It's so easy.
This reminds me of. There's something that I've seen advertised in many places, and I've tried it with Jess as a game before, and they're called story dice. And you have like 6 of them, and you roll one for character, one for plot, one for genre, whatever it is. And it's kind of like they're going, right, okay, one of the things that came up on the dice was a key. How do we work a key in? Oh, we'll unlock a door. No, a door would be too easy. Right, okay, so we'll do a trunk. Right, okay, well, how does that fit the story? I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. I've got to hit all these points. I've got to get all these in to get them to level up or whatever it is. I've got to fucking get the bonus points for getting all the different dice in. And that's kind of what they've done. The thing with the crypt in itself, the singing fucking heads. Again, they're funny, but they add nothing. I love them.
I can't fucking believe I haven't mentioned them. I don't think I made a note about them. I did. I went past it because I was fucking moaning about the hitchhiking ghosts. I've got here the singing busts are fucking great. Yeah. That's one of the best bits of the film. Yeah, they're fantastic.
And the way they cut on the lines and everything, it's brilliant. It's really funny. But again, it's like it doesn't fucking do anything.
No,
it's funny and it's playing up and it's a march to the ride and everything. I get that, but at this point, you're too far removed. You're trying to shoehorn all the bits of the ride in, and that's what I mean. They've gone, right, we need to get this, we need to get this, we need to get this, and just bang, 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 rather than going, right, we can seed this in the fucking 20th minute.
Yeah.
And no, they can hear fucking singing coming from the graveyard, or they can hear voices from the far end of the whatever else. And then as we go through later on, we can hear the same voices as they pass, and we can find out they're the bus. No, there are ways you can do that without just going, oh, look, it's the singing bus. Oh, look, it's the hitchhiking ghosts.
Well, I mean, again, going back to the house becoming a maze and trapping them inside and making an adventure film out of it, you use them like the door knockers in Labyrinth. You know, they've been there that long, they talk in rhyme, they're fucking crazy, and somewhere in amongst, if you unpick all of the fucking jargon in the songs, the truth is there. So you use them as a way to move forward. Because they're fucking great. They're animated really well. They look like the bus from the ride. I love the way they sing and stuff as well. They sing their answers, and you say they cut the lines off, and they're fucking brilliant. That bit was excellent. One of my favorite bits of the film. Yeah, in fact, that, to be fair, it was just in the wrong place. But
that probably is my favorite bit of the film.
That whole outside section from there into the crypt is fucking brilliant. Like once we passed the bit with the hitchhiking ghost, and we got that bit to the crypt to back inside, all fucking brilliant. More of that, I'd have been happy. Yeah. But anyway, we don't get that. Instead, we get Eddie Murphy trapped outside. This is the time to go to the crypt. Okay, this film's a fucking mess. Then somehow Leota's there.
I was going to say, how the fuck does she end up in the car?
Fuck knows. She's Madame Leota. I guess she can do what she wants. But as motivational speeches go, when she has to pick the hero up off the floor and convince him to give it one more go because his family's counting on him, and like he needs to dig down deep because she's his wife, and you know he needs to go for it. As those motivational speeches go, Try Again is pretty fucking awful, and that's what we get.
Yeah.
Try Again. That's what we fucking... Bear in mind, this is a character as well who has spoken entirely in fucking rhyme until this point. And now we get Try Again.
But I mean, like I said earlier on about having you talking in riddles and then getting fed up when he doesn't get it and delivering it bluntly, telling him, even if you didn't do that then, do it now. Yeah. She talks in fucking riddles. She Yodas him for a good 30 seconds, and he's just looking at her blank. And she goes, just fucking try again. You know, build to it. Build up to it and make it mean something.
Yeah.
But also, no, and you can do that in a funny way. But it's just so fucking... Again, it's thrown away.
Well, interesting you should say thrown away, because here's another gimme that they haven't gone with. So he can't break the windows with he pulls a post out. Can't break the windows with them. Okay. Yeah. Don't know why the car can break the windows and they can't. Okay. Other than the car is bigger. If we're talking about rules of supernatural metaphysics and stuff, if the windows are unbreakable, the windows are unbreakable. Okay. So if something can break the windows but not the post, surely the gag here is for Leota to chops in off at him. And yes, you throw Leota through the fucking window. You drop kick the bitch.
Yeah.
Like, surely that's what you do.
And again, if you're looking at the style they've gone for with, where you had the fucking ghost flying to the screen with that almost sort of 3D effort, you throw it and you get the fucking shot of her coming towards you just before she hits the window, and her face.
Yes.
Just looking fucking terrified as she screams.
Yes.
That's how you break the fucking window.
Yes. It's such an obvious... I don't know why they didn't do that.
Because you have the gag of the crystal ball with the seatbelt on. I know it being a bit fucking surreal, and it's like that. It's not necessary.
You could still get that if you want, because you could get that the car can't break the window either, because it's not supernatural. Yes, so it needs something supernatural to break the force field.
What's more supernatural than a fucking head in a crystal ball?
Exactly. And then again, you get to have the moment with her where she might have been talking in riddles, and they get to look at each other, and she can just go, no. Yeah.
No, I didn't mean that. No. Think of something else.
Exactly. But no, we don't get that. Okay, so he eventually breaks through the windows with a fucking car.
What did that fucking piano ever do to him as well?
Yeah, fuck knows. I
was like, that's just such a fucking waste.
Yeah, completely.
There's no need for it. We've not seen the piano the whole way through. So somebody has literally gone and built that prop just to be smashed by the car.
It's just because they wanted to get the organ in there. That's it. That's it. It's just there for that reason. So then we get the wedding ceremony started, and
but even before that, he rescues the kids who we've not really established are in that much fucking danger. And again, they have this big reunion moment where they're all hugging and all the rest. Like, they don't need that because there's not been any estrangement.
No, you're right. I had that done as well. But the journey to the kids is great. Again, fighting through the suits of armor. This is more of what we need. Like Dad trying to save his estranged family, who for whatever reason he's pissed off and they hate him, but now he has to be their hero. This is what the film should be. Yeah. So he fights his way through the suit of armor. He gets the kids. All the while we're cross-cutting to the wedding ceremony going on. She does it right, and she absolutely does not drink from this cup, mind you.
No, doesn't at all.
Definitely does not, okay? Because we get, has anybody got any objections? And he busts in. Yeah, and says, "Yeah, I've got a fume jet." Now,
Yeah,
again,
for reference, it's there.
yes, she has not drunk from that cup. Okay.
No, and we saw him. He poured it directly in. He didn't lace the rim. He did nothing with it apart from pour it into the into the wine.
Yep. And at this point, it makes no sense for him to want to poison her anyway, because they're marrying before she's dead.
Well,
So
I mean, presumably she still needs to die in order to release Elizabeth.
no,
But
because Elizabeth's there.
yeah,
Elizabeth's spirit is separate. Elizabeth
well,
and Sarah are not the same. They just look the same.
this is it. And the whole thing is, she dies, and then Elizabeth is in her body, and or goes into her body, and then she gets to speak and have the have the big moment or whatever else. But none of it none of it matches up. Nothing. The through line doesn't work. And then
No, because if that was the case, if all they needed was a body for Elizabeth, why didn't they just kill her? And again, this is better, okay, for the threat. Why don't they try and kill her as soon as she gets to the mansion, so Elizabeth gets the body, and then he marries Elizabeth in Sarah's body?
Yeah, and again, you've got that element where Eddie Murphy doesn't know she's changed.
Yes, and then he has
so there's fucking drama. There's conflict.
Right, this is much better, right? And now Sarah's a ghost, and so this is your act 3 now, where Sarah's a ghost, but she's a good ghost.
Yeah,
she's a Casper because she's his wife, and she wants her body back. So then, and he's had an argument with her as well in act 2, so they aren't on speaking terms when they separate.
Yeah.
So then they have to come back together to save the kids together as mum and dad, who the kids don't normally see because they're always at work. So they have to work as a team, as Evers and Evers estate agents, and save their kids and get her body back and release the spirits.
Yeah.
Scene. Like, not fucking hard. Like, really not hard.
No, it's really frustrating.
We've just broken that in an hour and 40 minutes between us, in not much longer than the film.
Let's be fair. We've rewritten the entire fucking thing
in not much longer than it took to watch the fucking film.
Yeah, and as I said earlier on, there's some really good stuff in here. They just don't unpick it. It's like they've gone, well, here's some seeds, and you can see the seeds in there, but we're not going to let them grow. We're not going to do anything with them apart from show you they're there, and then piss on them.
Yeah, and hopefully pissing on them will make them grow, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
But this scene, like, it all works. Okay. It doesn't pay off because we haven't got the emotional investment, but saving the kids, and then the last minute, and of course it's the classic. Does anybody object?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, I've got some. Yeah, that works. Okay, he gets his hero's entrance, and that works, but it falls flat because we haven't built him as a hero because he's got nothing to quest for and nothing to learn.
Again, let's say he's not been built as a hero, but she's not been built as a damsel, and the situation hasn't been built as a threat.
No, there's nothing. So
because again, you look at this and if you're Eddie Murphy, you go, well, yeah, fine, you can say you're marrying a ghost guy, but it's not legally binding because A, you're already married to me, and B, he's dead. Exactly. So who gives a fuck anyway?
So our version's much better, but this is the version we got, and it doesn't make sense. Now, something else that really doesn't make sense, and this really bugged me as well from a logic point of view. There is great care taken when Eddie Murphy first enters the mansion and offers his hand to everybody.
Yeah.
For them to avoid shaking his hands because, of course, they're ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can't shake his hand. But now all of a sudden, Gracie can grab Jim.
Yeah.
How? I'll buy it for this final scene. I'll buy it.
Maybe watch Ghost.
Well, this is what I thought. Like, maybe there is. I genuinely, that's how I explained it to myself. I hand waved it away. I hand waved it away by going, oh, maybe it's a ghost thing, and he just needs to really concentrate, and he couldn't be asked at the start. But now he's
important.
So anyway, they have almost have a fight, but they don't because now everything gets explained, and then all of a sudden Sarah carks it, and it's the poison.
What fucking poison?
What fucking poison?
We haven't
seen any poison go into the chalice, and she didn't drink from it.
We saw him pouring a sachet of something into the chalice.
Oh yeah, he did.
So we had that, but she didn't fucking drink it.
No. So why did she die? I don't know, but she did
because she needed to for the story.
And then
for the story.
For the story, yeah. And then it's fine though because just as quickly as she died, she is risen. Literally in a cruciform, no less.
Yeah, that's some proper Jesus shit. That.
Yeah. So, and then we get the line, "I'm back, Sarah." From where? Exactly. Where's Eddie Murphy come back from? Wait. From
Yeah.
From where? What's he been doing? What? I don't understand.
No.
Because we have this whole scene then where everybody gets released and stuff, and then they're coming back together, and his line to her is,
but she doesn't even know he's been fucking missing.
No. So there's no payoff even. After everything is put right, and after Ramsley gets sucked to hell, and everybody else ascends, and then she gets her body back. And credit to her, mind you, because there was a point where, of course, Elizabeth's in Sarah's body, and her and Gracie are kissing. And I thought they weren't going to acknowledge it, but we do get the close-up of Eddie Murphy going, "Hey, dude, like, hold on a minute."
Like, says to the kids, "That's not really your mother. It's fine."
Yeah, so I like props for that, because I was thinking
that's a good gag.
It is, yeah, because I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, "This is fucking awkward," and then they called about it, yeah. So then, yeah, she comes back, and we get the line, "I'm back, Sarah." But they, aside from having a bit of a spat at the mansion. Yeah. They haven't had, like, they've had nothing approaching like this big relationship destroying.
No crisis, there's nothing.
No, so it just doesn't work. This film just doesn't work. Simple as that. This story doesn't work. Just a couple of other small notes. We're at the end now, but a couple of small notes. It's called The Haunted Mansion, but we only actually get to spend any amount of time with 4 ghosts. Where are the other 995? Like,
well, this is it. I was thinking this earlier on. I watched it this afternoon, and this movie cost $90 million to make.
Jesus Christ!
And the majority of that will have gone on Eddie Murphy and the CG.
Yeah,
and that's fine, but they did not make the most of what they had. I mean, once you've rendered those fucking ghosts, you can get them doing any bastarding thing. That's the whole point of CG, is that, you make a model and you can get it to do anything.
Yeah.
So use the fucking thing. Use it to tell you a story. Put them in the background. Like I said, they did it very sparingly, where Gracie's trying to explain to Sarah about Elizabeth, and he thinks she's going to recognize him and all the rest of it. The ghosts do pop up behind him. They do. They are in that ball scene very fleetingly.
Yes.
In the ballroom. They've done so much more with that type of stuff, and built up the fact that this. As you said, there is this whole fucking estate of ghosts that can't leave. Yeah, everybody's stuck in purgatory because of Elizabeth.
And we see them ascend. We know how many are there.
Yeah. So why not use any of them?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, you've got a central cast of 8?
Yeah.
2 of them are kids.
This actually, 90 million, right? Like I said, you don't see hardly any of the mansion. It all takes place in the foyer, more or less.
Yeah.
Okay? And
a couple of bedrooms. You don't see anything grand. You could have made those on one lot, and say, right, now, well, okay, we've done that bit. Now we'll tear it all down, and next weekend we'll be doing this bit. You don't see $90 million on screen.
No, you got a small cast, a small set. This feels like a very small. This feels like, to start with, somebody like Eisner went, "I know we're doing Haunted Mansion, high concept filmmaking." Okay, so they went away. They went, right, we got Eddie Murphy, brilliant. So it's Eddie Murphy in the Haunted Mansion. And then they started putting it together, and somebody just went, "Oh no, this doesn't work, does it?" And they just lost faith in it, so they just stopped trying.
Together.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it feels like, and it's a shame, because the film is here. We've pointed it out, like the bits are fucking here. They just need putting together. So yeah, those other ghosts do fuck all, and that really annoyed me.
It's because it's like so many things, they are wasted.
There are 999 stories in that fucking place. Yeah. So just pick one of them.
Well, this is it. We said this a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what show it was on, but we talked about where you have like Star Wars universe or a Harry Potter universe or anything like that, where you have stories that are impacted by the events of the main storyline, but they don't necessarily have to relate to it. They don't have to be directly involved. And we talked about The Mandalorian as a prime example of that. You could do any one of those, and you say, right, okay, well, we've got 999 ghosts. There's 999 fucking films in this, potentially. There are stories we can seed in this one that we'd decide we're going to spin off a TV show, or we just with a new central character, but with the ghosts, or you say we're going to make a series of films, and you've done the groundwork, but they don't do the groundwork here.
There's a very good young adult book series actually called, is it Tales from the Haunted Mansion? I've got them behind me. I'm pretty sure it's Tales from the Haunted Mansion. And it is essentially the librarian of the Haunted Mansion telling ghost stories to kids. Yeah. And each story, of course, how one of the kids come to be at the haunted mansion. And so it's a story about one of the ghosts, and they're excellent. There's a series of them. I think there's like 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure it's Tales from the Haunted Mansion. I can't quite see the book from here, but it's on my bookshelf over there. It's just hiding behind some other stuff. But why not just do that? Like, just give us a bunch of, and it's the book. It functions like each one's got about 3 or 4 stories in it, so it functions like an anthology.
Yeah.
You could have done that with this. You could have made a fucking Twilight Zone kind of thing and done an anthology, Tales from the Crypt, that sort of thing. Or if you wanted, go for one through line, but make it count. If it's going to be Eddie Murphy's character and the ghosts are just going to be window dressing, fine. But make it count. And more importantly than anything, it's called The Haunted Mansion. The house has to be a character. You can't have a haunted house film without the house being a character. Yeah. It's vital. That's right. That's the whole point. Absolutely vital. Yeah. Having said all of that, it left me on a good note because I love the busts singing on the back of the car as they're driving away.
Yes.
I just love those busts. They're brilliant. But yeah, it's look, my final note here. This is fucking terrible. But it needn't have been. No, it needn't have been bad. The director and the cast all have the chops. The writer has the chops. The studio has the chops. Everybody has the chops to make this fucking work, and all the ingredients are there. But it is a total fucking mess.
Yeah, I mean, that was my big gripe with it as well. No, it's that it's all there. There's the makings of a good story here, be it a comedy, a horror comedy, or an outright horror. There are some good elements of all three in it. And you can see that there's an intention there somewhere, which just hasn't been followed through. It's almost like, as you said, they kind of fell out with it and went, oh, no, this isn't going to work. Oh, but we're in too deep. We can't fix it. It's too late to change it. So let's just fucking get it out and get on with it. I mean, when I texted you at the half-hour mark, I was thinking of, at that point, this I don't tend to rate films, but this was a solid 2 out of 10. It was it was slow. It was dull. They hadn't got to the point. I said we hadn't had any scares for a fucking horror film, and I was just like, no, this just isn't going to go anywhere. By the time it finished, I said we had some good stuff. We had the stuff in the crypt. We had the hitchhiking ghosts and the bus, which nice cameos. We had some interesting bits, and I thought I'll take it up to a solid 4. There were bits that were entertaining, but for me, it was. This is going to sound really fucking awkward. For me, this was a poor man's Casper. Because they did such a better job with the ghosts and the threat, and we had our cipher in Christina Ricci and to an extent her father, who was it Bill Paxton?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I can never remember which one was Bill Paxton, which one was Bill Pullman.
Oh no, you got me thinking now. Is it Bill Pullman?
It is Paxton, I think. I'm sure it is.
I'm certain it is.
Yeah. But yeah, so you get your cipher there. You get introduced to this world. You get the bit where there's a bit of backstory to the character, whereby she's dragged around from all these from all these schools, from all these towns to go visit these haunted houses and live in them all. That's again, there's a way again, the house isn't haunted, but there are ghouls who haunt the house and use the house. That's entirely missing here, and for Casper was fucking 10 years before this.
It's Bill Pullman.
Oh, fuck. Oh well, I knew it was one of them.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Casper's 100% a better film than this.
That Twister.
Oh, fucking hell, you got me. Yes, you got me confused to fuck now. But sorry. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Twister would be Bill Paxton. Because, that's another one of those... There are certain pairings of actors, aren't there, that you just use interchangeably.
Yeah, Bill Paxton was in Twister.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Yeah, he was in Weird Science and Aliens and all sorts of shit. Yeah.
Welcome to our movie podcast, everybody, where we talk knowledgeably about films.
Yeah.
But we only talk about bad films, all right?
Yeah, we don't talk about good.
Yeah,
we don't talk about good stuff or good actors. But yeah, I mean, this for me was. I went into this. I hadn't seen it, and I couldn't work out why I hadn't seen it. And then, obviously, I don't do reviews. I don't read reviews anyway. I don't trust them. And it's been universally panned, so that's how it got onto this list. It's widely considered to be a shit film, which is how it ended up on here. But I watched it. I went into it thinking, okay, well, it can't be as bad as people say because it's a Disney property. There's got to be some quality in there somewhere, and it's Eddie Murphy, who's always watchable. And from there, it kind of went downhill. I mean, it's the whole thing with the painting. That's tropey as all hell. Even to a point where we saw it in 365 Days a couple of months back.
Yeah.
Painting of the woman he's searching for. That's fine. It's been done a million times, but it's fine. Tropes are tropes for a reason. We've said that before. But yeah, it just there are so many things that don't work in it, and that's the frustrating part for me, is that there was so much promise, and even what you get on screen, there's so much more they could have done, and you get the impression that somebody somewhere was tearing their hair out when they're on set, going, "What the fuck are you doing that for? That's not what we planned."
Yeah, Eddie Murphy at least must have been like, look, I know this is a payday, all right, and he's in the middle of his renaissance here as well, and look, he's made some shit, as I say, he's always watched movies, he's made some shit, but he's been on enough fucking sets and been around enough fucking films now, at least, to know that, like, this does. But then we say that, and we don't know that, that script, this might not be the script that they shot. This finished product might not reflect what they shot, and it feels very much like it doesn't, because it really does feel like the pieces are there.
Yeah, they just don't fit together.
They just don't fit together, and there's been vast swathes of it left on the cutting room floor, I think, as well. Someone somewhere decided they wanted a 90-minute film, and there's maybe half-hour material that could save the arse of this.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think that, I mean, like, there are opportunities, and you think that we look at it and go, right, okay, well, I'd have done this, I'd have done that. And that's from a point where we are storytellers, we are filmmakers, but not only that, we're film fans who watch films. Mm-hmm. And if nothing else, even if you have no involvement with making or writing or films or anything like that, if you watch films and and you like films, you can see where these problems are. You can see the bits that are missing from all the other films that are like it, that it should mirror.
Yeah.
And you just look at this and go, hang on, you've missed a bit.
Well, yeah, because especially like haunted house films are like, they're all tropey. It's one of the most like obvious tropey genre pieces you can do is a haunted house film.
One of the most parodied as well. No, you get a lot of comedies that parody horror.
Well, yeah, and that's because it's such a well-established trope, the haunted house. We know all the trappings of a haunted house.
Yeah.
So you need to hit those beats. You can't, like, you can do something new with them.
Yeah.
And you can play off in a comedy horror style or whatever. You can tell a new story within the confines of that world.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you have to hit the beats of a haunted house, and this doesn't do it at all.
No.
It's fucking dreadful.
No, it is. I've got a story, actually. I can't remember if I told you this before. When we went to Florida in '93, and we were out and about. We went up to Kissimmee, just to get something to eat and have a change of scenery. And there was a haunted house there, and we had no fucking experience of haunted houses at all, apart from the ones in this country where it's a bit of a fucking ghost train and things jump out and you go, ah. So we paid quite a lot. I think I'd have been fucking 9 or something like that. So we went in and we went around this house, and there was 4 of us, me, my brother, and my parents, and we were going around, and you could see all the things that were on springs that were going to jump out and shit like that. And what they didn't tell you, and this really put me off haunted houses fears, there were fucking live actors.
I knew you were going to say that. You did an actual haunt.
Yeah, and we had no fucking idea. And when we went in, you saw all these people buy the fucking screens in the gift shop and laughing and all the rest. And you think, oh yeah, and some funny photos and shit like that. Because having done Disney, where you've got your photos at the end and shit, so oh yeah, fine, okay, fine. And I'm not being funny. I would have been 9, 10, 11, something like that. I'm fucking like, it was around that time. And literally, this fucking we went up to this thing, and there's a coffin, and the lid's open, and it's going to sit up out of there. And yeah, it sat up out there. And then some fucking thing put its hand on my shoulder.
Amazing.
Now, bear in mind as well, as I was a fucking young kid at this point as well.
This is why it's so funny to me. I do this shit for fun.
Yeah, and it was like, and I'll say that was it for me for haunted houses for years, because I was like, that just fucking threw me. And then when we went back to Disney then and did the Haunted Mansion, I was like, oh, this is fucking nothing now.
I mean, yeah, I didn't do proper haunted house until I was late teens, probably. I love them now. My biggest annoyance at the whole situation that we're in at the moment is that it's fucking Halloween right now, and it's looking, despite the fact I have a trip booked, it's looking increasingly likely that I'm not going to be able to do any haunts this year. I fucking love them. But I go into them knowing full well what I'm going to experience.
Well, that was it. Like, we'd
to
never
go into
seen
one as a
anything like
young
that.
kid must have been fucking terrifying.
Well, that was it. And it was one of those that we just thought, like, you get them in this country, and you get them now. You didn't get that sort of thing at the time. But it was just like a fucking a little bit of a ghost train, or you'd have something, and they'd be like fucking glow in the dark skeletons that the doors open and they pop out at you at speed, and
yeah.
all that sort of shit. And we were fine with that. I said, we were kids, but we were okay with that. And then this fucking bloke dressed as, I can't remember what he was dressed up. He had a fucking machete in the other hand. Like, it wasn't even a fucking rubber thing. But fuck me.
But I mean, it's interesting when you say that, like, you go back then and the Haunted Mansion is not scary, and you're right. Like I said right back at the start, that's the thing that's missing from the heart of this film for me is the tone of the Haunted Mansion, because it's not terrifying in the way that is, but it is scary. And it was the first proper ghost train. I think I probably, like, same as you, in this country, I'd been on like ghost trains in our local fun fair and shit like that, and they're shit. Okay, so we go to Disney World for the first time. I'm 11 or 12. I think I was 12, maybe 11. I don't know. I'm 11 or 12. And I was dead excited to go on the Haunted Mansion because I was that kid. I'm still that fucking kid. All right, I like the spooky shit. So I'm like, brilliant. I want to go on the Haunted Mansion. And we go in and it's all fun and games, and it's spooky, scary. And then we get to the end, and little Leota's just perched up on the end as the doom buggy's going back up, giving it all, hurry back. And that stayed with me for fucking years as a kid. And so it has the potential, amongst all of the scares, amongst all of the laughs, and all of the good times, it just fucking scare you. And this never does that. It, like I said when I was going through notes, it just lacks teeth.
Yeah,
and it needs them at times. For this to work, it needs some teeth.
It does, and I think that, I mean, if you look at comedy horrors that have come since, a lot of them have learned from that. They've learned that you can get away with a small cast and a relatively confined location, but you need the words behind it. You can't just rely on what's on. No, you can't just rely on the jumps and scares because they're not there. So you need to have the clever words, and you need to have something to hang your story on. And if you do that, that's fine. And you look at things like Shaun of the Dead. It's not scary. It's fucking hilarious. But again, it's built on this fact: you have a small core cast. They have a definite fucking mission. And that was only the year after, don't forget.
There's tangible threat.
Yeah, there's tangible threat. You have a definite mission. You've got fucking interruptions to that with we're having to go off and rescue Barbara and shit like that. That's all there. Whereas this film, for whatever reason, there's no reason why it shouldn't be there. There's no reason it can't do any of this. They've just gone, right, we'll take all the bits that we think are funny and we'll use those. But they can't be too funny because we're not making a comedy. But we need some scares as well. We can't be too scary because we're Disney and it's a family film. And it's like they've kind of skimped on everything. Rather than sacrificing one for the other, they've just gone, oh yeah, well, we near enough. And something just hasn't gelled. Something hasn't clicked with it to a point where it's 2/3 of a product.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's a big third that's missing. I did say third there. But hey, they had Eddie Murphy. So
well, that's it. And I think they were relying on that sort of stuff. And don't get me wrong, this fucking doubled its money. It made $180 million back.
Look, it's called The Haunted Mansion. It's got Eddie Murphy in it.
It was always going to make its money back, but it's
chumps like me were always going to go and watch it. Like that's the thing. There's an inbuilt audience there, if nothing else.
That's it.
So
yeah, but yeah, it's a shame, really. Yeah, I mean, I think I know the answer, but I've got to ask: is it better than Mario?
Joe, actually, I have had to. I've been racking my brain over this one all day because I think technically, like, because Mario's a mess as well. Let's not forget. Okay, technically, I think probably yes, because I think all of the elements are there. They're just in the wrong order and things. But in terms of, like, you've got to judge it as a whole product. And the way I always approach these, in terms of is it better than Mario or not, is if they're close on a technical level. Like if something is very clearly better than Mario on a technical level and everything's good and I just don't like it, then you have to say that yes, it's better than Mario. Right? But when it comes to this, when it's a close run thing, you have to think, like, if I had both of them in front of me now, which one am I putting on? And it ain't going to be this. So I think ultimately I'm going to come down on, is it better than Mario? No. Mario is better than this, but just...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I watched it this afternoon. I've had about an deliberate on it before we started. So call it fucking 3 hours now. And I think you're right. I think technically there are aspects to it which are better. I mean, the problems with this, I think, exist in how half-assed it is. It's not. It doesn't back itself. It doesn't go and say, right, okay, well, yes, okay, we're making a family horror, no, a family comedy horror. They've just, they've gone into it thinking we're making a family film, but we're also making a horror. We're also making a comedy. They haven't tried to make what they set out to make, and as a result, they've missed the target. And because of that, I say it looks good, and you've got Eddie Murphy, who's always watchable. But for me, it just doesn't have the same appeal because there's so much more frustration with it than there was with Mario. And I think that's the bit for me, is that I could. Don't get me wrong. If I've got a couple of hours to spare, I'm not sitting down and watching either of the fuckers, because I've got Netflix to work through, and Disney Plus to work through, and Prime to work through, and like 2 walls of DVDs over there which you can't see to work through. I ain't fucking watching either of these. But if I had, gun to my head, I've got to watch one of them. It's going to be Mario.
I agree.
As always, if people have thoughts, if you don't agree with us, do you think this is great, or you think it's better than Mario, certainly let us know, get in touch, and we always love the feedback. You can find us on Twitter at ddpodcastnet. You can go to our website, which is ddpodcast.net. You find our previous episodes, including the one on Mario, so you can judge for yourself, as well as some of our other shows. Wherever you get your podcasts from, be it iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Amazon Prime, wherever. Like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment. We'll get back to you as best we can. But until next time.
Hurry back. Hurry back. Don't forget to bring your death certificates.
Sorry, you fucking broke me there.
Had to be done.